A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender-Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed.
Every now and then I hear someone who's discussing food say, "Give me the good old days." For my part, they can have 'em. Really, there's just no comparison between the quality of food in grandmother's time and the food of the present day. Now, take beef, for instance. I'm afraid our forefathers would have been startled at our modern practice of feeding grain to cattle. But you and I know that grain-fed beef is wonderfully tender and juicy and delicious. That's why it's always used for Kroger Tender-Ray beef. Without those top-quality grades of grain-fed beef, well, we just wouldn't have Kroger Tender-Ray. And that's exactly what has happened. There's a shortage of grain today, so it isn't available for cattle feeding. That grain is going overseas to help fight the war against starvation. After those hungry millions have been fed, then our farmers will once more give us grain-fed beef. Until that time, please keep this in mind. Right up to the day when you can buy Kroger Tender-Ray again, Kroger will always bring you the best beef that is available.
Our thanks to you, sir. Thank you very much. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Sought by federal authorities, Jerry Manson and her husband Richard Ashforth are hiding in a cabin at Rossville Lake. Unaware of this, Penny and her stepfather Jed are looking over the vacant lot not 50 feet from where the fugitives are hiding. With each step, they walk closer to the cabin.
Oh, Jed, I just can't get over what a lovely beach this property has.
I think this land's worth buying just for the beach alone, don't you, Penny?
No, I wouldn't say that. You can't build a cabin on a strip of sand 10 feet wide.
Oh, I don't know. Could build a skinny cabin.
Oh, Jed, Billy.
Yeah. That stake marking the end of this property and the beginning of the land for the cabin up there should be about in here somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we passed it.
Well, it could be.
Let's go back a few feet and look, huh?
All right.
Oh, Jed, look on the lake.
Yeah?
Sailboat.
Oh, pretty sight, isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful. Golly, I haven't been sailing for 2 years. Johnny and I.
No, Penny, don't start feeling the good old days are dead and gone forever.
Oh, I wasn't thinking anything of the sort.
Well, I hope not. Say, there's a small rowboat pulled up on the beach up the other end of my property. Like to go out on the lake in a little bit?
Yeah, I would. But first, let's look over your property.
Oh, sure. See, I still can't find that stake. Wonder what's happened to
You
it.
probably passed it again. Let's turn back and walk real slow.
All right. But I don't think we've passed it. I think it's nearer that cabin up there than I thought at first.
Well, if it's much nearer than you thought, it doesn't leave much land for the cabin there.
Oh, the property line of that cabin probably extends the other way.
Oh, I see. It's pretty far from the other cabins in the row, isn't it?
Yes. Kind of off by itself. Well, let's see if we can find that stake.
Yep, okay. Only thing I don't like about it here, Jed, is that...
Yeah? What's that, child?
It's kind of lonesome.
Oh, that's just what I do like about it. I want to build a little cabin out here where it's nice and quiet, and then just sit out in front of it, smoking my pipe and watching the waves run up the shore of the lake.
Yeah, just how long do you think you could do that?
All summer long.
Jed Billings, how long?
Well, maybe for the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Why, Jed Billings, how long?
Well, first day or two.
That's more like it. No, sir, I can't see you sitting still for more than a few hours anywhere for any reason. Oh, hey, is this the stake we're looking for?
Where?
Right here. I caught a glimpse of it in the bushes right here.
Well, let's have a look, see if it's a property marker. Yep, Yep, sure is.
Well, then this is where your property ends on this side, huh?
That's right. Lots of lake frontage, don't you think?
Yeah, it sure is. Let's see, it runs from up there near that big oak all the way down here. Golly, you have enough room here for a small estate.
Well, I'll settle for a small log cabin right in the middle of it.
But don't forget you threatened to build a dock for a boat, and maybe you want a little boathouse.
Say, a boathouse. Yes, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, all that comes later. Well, we've seen the property from one end to the other, Penny. Now, what do you think of it?
Oh, Jed, I think it's wonderful.
You mean it?
Mm-hmm. As far as I can tell, it's marvelous. You have a lot of lake frontage, and you have high ground for the cabin,
Yep.
and a road leading right to the property.
Yes, sir, and plenty of shade trees, too. Guess I ought to buy it, huh?
Mm-hmm, I think so. But, gee, you can really never tell, Jed.
What?
Well, there might be something wrong with the land. You can't tell just by looking at it.
Oh, such as...
Well, I don't know offhand. It looks like a perfect cabin site to me, but it's funny it hasn't been built on before this. Cabins are rather thick around the rest of the lake, but this way, there's just that one cabin right here. There's nothing but woods from here on.
Oh, and you think maybe there's a reason for it, huh?
Oh, there might be.
Oh, yes, of course, there might be at that. Wonder how we can find out. Can't ask the man I'm buying from.
No, that might be a little embarrassing. Tell you what we can do, though.
Yeah, what?
We can walk up to that cabin there and ask the people in it what it's like out here.
That's a good idea. Might be too damp for comfort out here at night or something like that. I guess the folks in that cabin could tell us more about it than anyone else.
Yeah, I bet you they could. Okay, let's go up and see who's in that cabin.
Not a bad idea. Nothing like getting acquainted with your future neighbors.
Afternoon, Pat.
Oh, hiya, Professor Rogers. Well, come in.
Thanks. Miss Gibbs home?
Well, no, she's not.
Oh.
Oh, but that doesn't mean you can't come in and visit a while.
No, of course not. But I just wanted to drop in for a minute and, well, pass on a little more good news.
You found Steve Parker?
No, the news isn't that good, Pat.
Oh. Well, guess that guy's hidden himself a little too well, huh?
Yes, he's certainly done a good job of it. When will your sister be back?
Well, gee, I don't know. Should be soon, though.
Oh. Well, I guess I better not wait.
Oh, wait a little while, Professor. Penny might be back any minute. She and Jed went out to the lake to look at some property Jed is thinking of buying.
They went out to the lake?
Yeah. Jed's got his eye on some property out there. It's swell, I hear. It's a plot of unimproved property right next to the last cabin in the row. It ought to be a pretty exclusive...
Next to the last cabin?
Yeah, Jed likes privacy, and I don't...
Maybe he likes privacy, all right, Pat, but I don't think he'll like his neighbors if he goes too near that cabin.
Why? What's the matter with them?
They happen to be Jerry Manson and Richard Ashforth.
What?
Yes. We got a tip that they were hiding out there as Mr. and Mrs. Sudrow. We were planning to arrest them tonight.
Holy mackerel. And Jed and Penny are out there in the woods right next to that cabin. Well, if Jerry sees...
If Jerry sees them, there's no telling what might happen, Pat. And you can be sure Jerry saw them. She and her husband were probably on the lookout for prowlers.
Oh, well, gosh, what are we going to do?
The only thing we can do, Pat, I'm going out there right now.
You're going out? Well, then I am, too.
You better not, Pat. There might be trouble. I'll see you later.
Oh, no, you don't. You'll see me now, because I'm going with you.
Our neighbors don't seem to be home, Jed.
Well, knock again. People live here, I know that. See, here are cigarette ashes in this tray on the porch.
As a matter of fact, I thought I saw a car parked out in back of the cabin when we first drove up.
Yes, I saw it, too. Funny we don't get any answers. Try it again.
Okay, once more.
I'm sure the people are home. I didn't see anybody leave here while we were in the lot.
No, I didn't either.
Hey, wait a minute. I think I'll try the door.
Jed, no.
Too late. It's already open.
Jed, you ought to be ashamed.
Well, I'm not ashamed. Just wanted to see what the inside of one of these things looks like. Might get some ideas about how to build mine.
Jed, there's nobody home. Come on, we better go.
No. Doesn't seem to be anybody home. Let's go on in, look around.
No, we can't do that.
Oh, come on, Penny. We'll just walk in, and
then walk right out again.
Professor Rogers, there's Penny's car.
Oh. I don't know whether that's good or not, Pat. It means your sister and Mr. Billings are still here. I hope. Well, come on, let's look around.
All right.
Hold it, I'll get out your side.
All right. Want me to yell for Penny?
No, don't.
Okay. Say, you said a minute ago that Penny and Jed were here, you hope. What'd you mean?
I meant if the Ashfords saw them. Maybe your sister and Mr. Billings have, well, been kidnapped.
Kidnapped? Oh, my God.
I said maybe. Come on, let's go down through these bushes here and approach the cabin from the front.
All right.
I shouldn't have let you come with me, Pat. If Ashforth is armed, there might be shooting.
Well, if they're shooting, I won't be with you long. I'll duck.
Well, you better. Well, here goes. I hope I don't have to use this.
Hey, that's an ugly-looking pistol. What'd you just do to it?
Took it off safety. Here's where we cut out of the bushes and head toward the cabin. Maybe you better stay here.
Nothing doing. I'm going with you.
All right. But be ready to duck behind a tree at the first sign of anyone in that cabin.
Don't worry.
All right, we're coming out of the bushes now. Now, careful from here on.
You bet.
It's awfully quiet around here.
Yeah, it's too quiet.
Say, front door of that cabin's open.
Is that bad?
I don't know yet. Come on, we'll make a dash for that big tree there.
I'm right behind you.
Good. Let's go.
Made it.
Swell. I can see inside the cabin now.
Oh, anybody there?
No, unless someone's hiding behind the open door. And here's where I'll find out about that.
Oh, you see something?
Yes. A lady's comb on the floor.
Yeah? Well, let's see it.
Wait a minute. Yeah, you recognize it?
Do I? This belongs to Penny.
Uh-huh. She means she was in this cabin.
Yeah, but nobody's here now.
No, and you know what that means, Pat?
What?
Mr. and Mrs. Sudrow, Jerry and her husband, have gone and taken Mr. Billings and your sister with them.
So Penny and Jed have been kidnapped. What will happen to them now? Jerry Manson swore revenge on Penny. Will she take it? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony.
Ladies, now that we can't supply you with all the fresh and tender Kroger Tenderay beef you've been asking for, it's a problem preparing outstanding dinners, isn't it? But perhaps I can help. Let me make a suggestion. If you want a frank opinion on what to serve, just ask your family what they want. You'll get an honest answer, and mighty quickly, too. They'll say, get some of those good chickens they have down at the Kroger store. Sure, folks who know are bound to ask for our Kroger chickens. Young, plump, and tender, packed with that honest-to-goodness, country-tasting flavor. They know what's good, so why not give the family a real country-style chicken dinner? Make up your mind now to stop in at your Kroger store soon and see our firm-fleshed, luscious-looking birds. You'll know immediately that your dinner is bound to be a success with Kroger chickens.
story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. An old couple suddenly disappear from one of the fashionable neighborhoods in your city. There's no trace of them, not a clue to their whereabouts. Foul play is suspected. Your job, find them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, September 30th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day shift out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Blaine Steed. My name's Friday. It was 3:45 p.m. when I got to room 67A. Missing persons.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Where's Al?
Next door. He'll be back in a minute.
Oh. There's a phone message for you in the book from your wife.
What is it this time?
She didn't say.
Sure been a bad week.
Why, what's the matter?
Lucille.
Who?
Our cat.
Again?
Kittens. Had 11 of them by the time I left the house. She was a healthy kid.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'm going to do with them. Hey, your mother likes cats, doesn't she, Joe?
You gave us 2 from the last litter. We still got them. They're as healthy as their mother.
Yeah?
Never pass up a meal.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Al.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Just getting this report straightened out. Here you go.
Mm-hmm. Mr. and Mrs. Walter Apperson.
How long they been missing?
Well, today's the 4th day. They're an elderly couple. One of their next-door neighbors got a little worried when he didn't see them around the house. Came in yesterday and filed a 316 on them.
Let's see. Clarence Stokely. Is that the neighbor?
Yeah. It says here he lived next to the Appersons for 28 years. Never known him to take off like this. Checked Apperson's cottage out there. Dirty dishes on the kitchen table. Not the way an old couple leave a house normally.
How about friends and relatives?
And Stokely called them. None of them have seen or heard from the Appersons for a week. Checked out 2 of their 3 living relatives, cousin in Eagle Rock and East in Alhambra. They don't know a thing.
Wonder if I can see that, Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, how about the third relative? Nephew, is that it, Joe?
Yeah. Frank Apperson. Says here he goes to a private college out near Monrovia.
I haven't been able to contact the kid. He's away on a vacation.
Possible the old couple might be with him?
Not according to Stokely. Says the Appersons seldom spend any time away from their home.
That's all we've got to go on, huh? Just the neighbor's story?
Yeah. Well, he says he checked the garage, too. The Appersons' car's gone.
How does that tie in?
Well, Mr. Apperson hasn't driven the car for the last year and a half. He has a nephew or some friend drive whenever he wants to go out. One more thing. May mean something, may not.
What's that, Al?
Mrs. Apperson's an invalid.
Yeah?
She hasn't left the neighborhood in 10 years.
4 p.m. Ben and I left the office and drove out to interview the neighbor of the missing couple. After checking at his home, we finally located him at his place of business, a small barber shop at the corner of 54th Street and Maxford Place. The chipped gold lettering on the window read, Jim Dandy Tonsorial Parlor. Smaller lettering in the right-hand corner of the window read, Proprietor Clarence Stokely. Except for a man in a white barber's smock sitting in the first chair, the shop was empty.
How do you do, gentlemen?
Hi.
You Clarence Stokely?
That's right.
Police officers, Mr. Stokely. I'd like to talk to you about the missing persons report you filed yesterday.
Oh, yes. Glad to help. You found out anything yet?
You know the Appersons pretty well, do you, Mr. Stoker?
28 years.
Sure worried about Walter and Kate. Never known them to do anything like this. Say, I couldn't be of service to you, could I?
Well, I just had a haircut a few days ago. How about you, Joe? Looks like you could stand a trim.
We could talk it over while I cut your hair. Don't think we'd be disturbed. They still look well.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Here, I'll take your coat.
Oh, thank you.
Push chair there.
You bet.
Mr. and Mrs. Apperson didn't mention anything about going away on a trip, did they?
Not a word. That's what makes it so strange. Now, let me fix this around your neck here.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Play cards with them twice a week, usually. Katie Apperson's a fine whist player. Want me to take some off the sides here, officer?
Yeah, please. Not too much, though. When did you first notice the Appersons weren't home?
Tuesday night. We thought we might go over and play some cards.
I see.
Is that enough off right here, officer?
Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. How is it you waited until yesterday to report the Appersons missing?
Wife and I are great friends of Walt and Katie's, but it's certainly none of our business if they want to go off for a few days.
Uh-huh.
Besides, we thought if anything was wrong, Buzz would have said something.
Who is Buzz?
Anderson's nephew, Buzz. Name's Frank, but everybody calls him Buzz.
I thought he was away at school, a place out near Monrovia.
Yeah, Stanley College, private school. But he only stays there part of the time. He's usually home early in the week.
Well, we were under the impression that this nephew, Buzz, was on a vacation.
That's so. That's the first I've heard. Funny Walt and Katie would have told us. Oop, that bull?
No, it's all right.
Skipper's little dog. Head down.
You, think the nephew might account for the Appersons' car being missing? You think he might have taken it on his vacation?
Possible, I guess, but I think Walt would have mentioned it. That car was old, but he was particular about it.
Uh-huh.
Maybe fit it out on top here a little?
All right, fine. Do you know the nephew at all?
Pretty well. Nice young fella.
He got along with his aunt and uncle all right, did he?
Yes, indeed. Buzz loved them both.
Do you have any idea where the Appersons might be, Mr. Stolfman?
No, I don't. Neither does my wife. That's why we called you people. We don't mean to be Budinskis, but we're worried. Maybe just a little more off the top, officer?
No, I think it's fine. It's okay. You have no idea where we might find the nephew, Buzz?
Not if he's away on vacation. Might check with the school. Buzz might have gone off with a couple of his friends. Do something to dampen that down?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, that porch light of theirs been burning for 3 nights and 3 days. It really kicks up the old electric bill.
Maybe the Appersons may have overlooked it.
Maybe. All right, sir. Yeah, it's a good-looking haircut if I say so myself.
Yeah. It's fine. Oh, here you go.
Thank you.
Oh, here's our card, Mr. Stokely. We'll be checking with you.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I borrow your comb? Barbara never combs your hair right.
That's not going to help you.
Huh?
It's the way he cut it.
What do you mean?
He put the part on the other side.
After we left Clarence Stokely's barber shop, we drove out to the Apperson home on 54th Street, just below Seaboard Avenue. We checked the house from top to bottom. The closets and the bedrooms were well stocked with clothes. None of the luggage seemed to be missing. In the basement, back on one of the cupboard shelves, we found a bottle of cyanide. It was half filled. In the kitchen, we found dirty dishes still lying on the table. We put in a call to Ray Pinker at the crime lab, and he came out and took sample scrapings from each of the 3 plates and specimens from each of the half-filled cups of coffee on the table. He also took along a bottle of cyanide to examine it for fingerprints. Ben and I called the record bureau just as a matter of routine and asked for any make and warrants on the nephew, Frank Buzz Apperson. R&I called back with the information that Frank Apperson had been arrested for grand theft auto 6 weeks before. His trial was pending. We checked back with the barber, Clarence Stokely. He knew nothing about the trouble. The next morning, Sunday, with the help of school authorities at Stanley College near Monrovia, we got in touch with the parents of 2 of Buzz Apperson's friends. They told us, as far as they knew, Apperson was on a camping trip with their sons. They were expected back in the next day around noontime. From one of the boarding students at Stanley College, we got the name of Buzz Apperson's girlfriend, a Miss Norma Louise Bernard. She lived in San Marino. Sunday night, we drove out to interview her.
I don't know what I can tell you, Sergeant. Buzzy's on a camping trip with two of the fellows from school. That's all I know.
When did he leave? Do you know, Miss Bernard?
Last Monday morning, they left from school, said they'd be gone for a week. They're coming back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. You know Buzz Apperson pretty well?
Yes, I do, as well as anyone, I guess.
What is he, just a casual date?
Oh, Buzzy and I have been going steady for almost a year now.
I see.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Have you ever met the Appersons, his aunt and his uncle?
Just once. They're awfully sweet.
How did Buzz get along with him, do you know?
Well, fine, I guess. The only argument Buzz ever told me about was a month ago. He wanted more allowance, and his uncle said no.
Was Buzz ever in any trouble, to your knowledge, Miss Bernard?
I don't think I know what you mean. What kind of trouble?
Well, I mean, was he ever in any trouble at the college or with the law in any way?
Oh, you mean that car Buzz took about 2 months ago?
Yeah.
We were supposed to go to this school dance, and Buzz didn't have a car. I guess he was ashamed. He said he knew the fellow he borrowed the car from, but the day after the dance, the cops came.
How did his uncle react to that?
Well, there was a terrible row, Buzz said. I really shouldn't be telling you. Bud made me promise.
How were feelings between the boy and his uncle before he left on the trip? Did he mention anything to you about that?
Well, we had a date last Sunday night. I asked him how things were at home. He didn't seem to want to talk about it.
The last time you saw him was Monday morning. Is that right?
Yes, just before he left on the camping trip.
Well, you're sure he went on that trip?
Well, of course I'm sure.
How do you mean?
He said, no matter who asked you, I went on a camping trip. He said it a couple of times.
Do you offer any explanation?
No, but I knew everything was all right.
Oh, is that so? How?
I could tell. The way he kissed me.
The next morning, Monday, Ben and I checked with missing persons. There was no additional information on the missing couple. We phoned the barber, Clarence Stokely. He had seen or heard nothing further of Mr. and Mrs. Apperson. We went down to the bank where the Appersons had their account. And with the help of the manager, we found that 3 checks had been passed on the Apperson checking account since the previous Wednesday, a full day after the missing couple had been last seen. 1 check was for $100 and 2 for $50 each. All of them had been cashed in Los Angeles and all bore the signature Walter Apperson. After examination, it was found each signature had been carefully forged. 10:45 a.m. We went back to the office.
Are you two going someplace?
Oh, hi, Ray. No, just coming.
You finished checking that stuff through the crime lab?
Yeah. I was passing over this way. I thought I'd drop off a report for you. Got it right here.
How'd it go?
Fingerprints on that bottle of cyanide. Leighton Prince got to make. Here's the name on it.
Frank Buzz Apperson.
You look over those dirty dishes we found in the Apperson house?
Checked them through. Nothing.
How about the samples you took from those cups?
Whoever drank that coffee's in trouble. It's loaded.
Yeah?
Enough cyanide to kill a horse.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to this case history recorded by a typical Fatima smoker.
Hi there. My name is Bab Beckwith. Bab, that's short for Bethany Ann Beckwith. I live in New York City and I'm a fashion stylist. The other day at a showing of the new fall styles, I ran out of cigarettes. A friend of mine, a designer, introduced me to the new long Fatima. I really wish someone had told me about them sooner. Fatimas are a lot milder than the cigarettes I've been smoking, and they have a delightful flavor, too. I'm very glad to recommend them to you, because I know from experience it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatimas.
And more smokers every day are finding that out. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, 1 p.m. We obtained a specimen of Frank Buzz Apperson's signature, and we had Don Myers in handwriting check it out against the signatures on the 3 checks. Both styles of handwriting matched in every detail. At 1:30 p.m., the parents of Buzz Apperson's two friends called to tell us that their sons were back from their camping trip. We checked the Apperson home. The nephew wasn't there. We drove out to see his two friends. Under questioning, one of them finally broke and admitted that Buzz Apperson had not gone with them on the camping trip. In the process of questioning the boys, one of them told us that he had been with the suspect 2 days before the trip when he purchased some medicine at the campus drugstore. We went to the drugstore and checked the prescription book. It showed Frank Buzz Apperson had purchased and signed for a bottle of cyanide 2 days before the disappearance of his aunt and uncle. Ben and I drove back to the Apperson house. When we arrived, the officers on stakeout had the boy in custody.
No, I'm sorry, officers. I wish I could help you out, but, well, maybe it's not as bad as you think.
When did you last see your aunt and uncle?
Monday, before I left on the camping trip.
They're in the habit of going off like this, are they?
Oh, sure. Aunt Kate and Uncle Walter have friends all over. They go on trips all the time.
Is that so? How do they get there?
They drive, both of them. They've been driving for years.
You talked to your uncle's friend, Mr. Stokely, next door. He says your aunt and uncle haven't been driving for at least a year and a half.
Stokely, the barber? He's one of the neighborhood cranks, Sergeant. Anybody around here can tell you that. Minds everybody's business but his own.
You don't seem too worried about your aunt and uncle. Think they're all right?
Well, we'd have heard by now if they weren't, don't you think, sir? They probably took off on a trip. That's just about the size of it, I think.
And how about this trip of yours?
Sir?
Well, this camping trip that you just come from.
Oh, a couple of fellows from school. We went camping up by Big Bear for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good fishing for September. Ever been up there?
Yeah, have you?
Well, sure. I just said that's why we've been camping. Say, I'm a little thirsty. There's a couple of bottles of ale in the refrigerator. Care for a bottle?
No,
not right now. Thanks.
Well, would you mind if I had one? Sure could use it.
No, you go right ahead. We can talk in the kitchen.
Place is in kind of a mess. I guess I'll have to go in and clean it up.
Does your aunt usually leave in a hurry like this?
Not usually, no. Dishes all over the place. She probably figured she'd wait till she got back to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Kate does things like that once in a while.
That's so?
Yeah, she's like that sometimes. Well, happy days.
Yeah. Okay, Buzz, you want to tell us? Where are they? Your aunt and uncle, what happened?
Say, I don't think I know what you're talking about. What's the trouble?
Come on, Buzz. You know what the trouble is. Let's have a straight story. It's going to save a lot of time.
Sir?
We can draw it out as long as you like. It'll be a lot easier if you cooperate.
Look, I don't know what you're thinking, Sergeant, but whatever it is, I don't understand you. What are you getting at?
Something's happened to your aunt and uncle. We're pretty sure you know what it is.
Well, how could I? I've been away on this camping trip.
You've been away, but not on a camping trip.
Sir?
We've checked you out from the day you came to live with your aunt and uncle, Buzz. You're going to make us spell out the whole record for you?
But I've been away. I just got back. I don't know what's happened.
We found a bottle of cyanide in the basement cupboard. Your fingerprints are all over it.
Well, sure, that figures. We use it for bug poison in the garden. I take care of the garden. I use it all the time.
You use it in coffee?
Sir?
The police chemist checked what was left in two of the cups that were on that table there. Cyanide in both of them, enough to kill 6 people. Now, look, boy, we've talked to your neighbors, your teachers, your girlfriend, Norma, and those 2 pals you were supposed to go camping with. Now, we can drag all of them out if we have to. They're going to make a liar out of you.
Sir?
I think you got it the first time.
Well, there couldn't be any cyanide in those cups. Why should there be?
We think you can tell us that.
But I can't. I don't know anything about this. I haven't any idea what you're talking about. Is this some kind of a gag?
You know better than that.
How about those checks, Buzz?
Sir?
The ones you forged your uncle's signature on. You need the money that bad?
I didn't forge any checks. I was away on a camping trip. Dave and Willie were with me. They can tell you.
You got in a row with your uncle. Maybe about that stolen car. Is that how it happened?
It had nothing to do with it. I want to see Norma. I want to talk to Dave and Willie. They'll tell you.
How about the man at the campus drugstore?
Sir?
The one you bought the cyanide from. You want to talk to him, too?
Look, are you 2 fellas kidding me? This must be some kind of a gag, is it?
Your aunt and uncle are missing. There's evidence of foul play. Now, does that sound like a joke?
Well, how should I know where they are? I wasn't there. I want to talk to Norma. I want to see Dave and Willie. They'll tell you. Why don't we drive over and see him now?
It's all right with us. Want to get your coat?
Sure. Norma's the girl I'm engaged to. Dave and Willie are my best friends. They know everything about me. A couple of real nice guys.
That's so?
Sure.
Well, let's go, babe.
Yeah. Dave and Willie have been all through school with me. They can vouch for me.
Yeah?
Sure. You can take their word, too.
We will. 5:50 p.m. We left the Apperson house, drove across town, and headed over the Arroyo Seco toward the home of the suspect's friend, Dave Killefer. 6:33 p.m. We took a right turn off the freeway, headed south for another mile, and finally pulled up in front of the Killefer home. Buzz Apperson's friend, Dave, met us at the front door.
What's it all about, anyway, Buzz? What's the pitch?
Well, that's what I want to know. Look, is this some kind of a gag you guys cooked up on me?
We were on the trip, Buzz. I don't know anything about any gag. What's all this about your aunt and uncle?
I don't know. That's what these officers want to find out.
I'd like to have you tell us again, Dave. Was Buzz here with you on that camping trip?
Sure, that's why we came over. Now, tell him about it, you know.
All right, let's have it, Dave. Was he with you on that trip?
These officers aren't kidding, Buzz. They want the truth.
Well, tell him I was with you and Willie. We went to Big Bear.
You're looking for your aunt and uncle. I'm not going to lie now. You didn't go to Big Bear with us.
All right, Dave, thanks.
Well, he's lying, officers. Who put you up to this stunt, Dave? They'll throw you in the jug for a gag like this. Who's behind it?
You're the guy who said it was a gag. You told us to tell everybody you were up at Big Bear with Willie and me. How about leveling? What's it about?
He's lying.
What's it about? You've got nothing to hide. Have you?
He's lying. You can tell that, can't you? Let's go talk to Willie. He'll tell you the truth.
Joe? All right. Thank you, Dave. That's all.
All right, Sergeant. Sure there isn't anything I can do?
No, thanks just the same. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Anybody could tell he was lying. Isn't that right, Sergeant?
Well, he's your friend, Buzz. Why do you say that?
Well, he was just plain lying, that's all. Couldn't you tell?
No, I couldn't. How about you, Ben?
Not me. Why would he lie, Buzz? You told us he was your pal.
Some kind of a stupid gag they're pulling. The gang in the fraternity I belong to, Dave's one of them. They've done it before. I don't know why they're lying, but they are.
Where's your friend Willie live?
Sir?
You said you wanted to drive over and have us talk to Willie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, where does he live?
Look, would you mind very much?
How's that?
I got a terrible headache. Would you mind very much just driving around a while? I'd like to clear my head a little. I can't figure this thing out.
All right. Why don't you roll down the window there, Buzz?
Okay. Yeah. The air feels good. Sure is hot out tonight.
Yeah,
Been a pretty long summer, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Say, I guess maybe we ought to forget about going over to Willie's place. He strings along with the rest. He'd probably lie, too.
You said you wanted us to have a talk with him.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about it. He'd only lie. It'd be better if we drove over to see Norma. That's the girl I'm engaged to.
Yeah, that's what we understand.
If anybody can give you a straight story, Norma can. She doesn't live far. Straight down the road here into San Marino.
Yeah, we know.
Oh. Sure would appreciate it if you'd drive over there.
Okay.
Norma can straighten this thing out. Swell girl. We're going to get married as soon as we can.
Oh?
Yeah. She saw me leave on that trip to Big Bear. She won't lie to you. Sure wish my aunt and uncle had left a note where they were going. All this trouble.
You mind if I lay out a couple of things for you, Buzz?
Now, what do you mean?
When a police officer picks somebody up, he's got a good reason for it.
Yeah, but Dave was lying, Sergeant. You know that.
It's a lot more than what Dave had to say. Now, you've done something wrong. We don't know what exactly, but we've got an idea, and we're going to find out.
You can't prove anything. I got that cyanide for the garden. We used it around the house for different things.
You don't use it in coffee cups. What happened, boy? Where's your aunt and uncle?
Next turn for Norma's house, up by the signal. Turn left.
Yeah.
Come on, Buzz. You know what happened. You're going to have to face it sooner or later. If it's not tonight, then tomorrow morning or tomorrow night or the night after.
But I don't know what happened.
The facts say you do, and they're not going to disappear. Now, you made the problem. It's going to stick out in front of you till you find an answer. How about it?
Norma will know what to do. Wait till I talk to Norma.
Why don't you stand up and face it, boy? Getting your girl mixed up in this isn't going to help.
She'll know what to do.
Can she find your aunt and uncle? Can she? How about the 3 checks? How about them? Can she explain those signatures that you forged? Maybe those fingerprints on the cyanide bottle. Can she help you out there? Now, look, Buzz, I believe you. You love the girl. Do you want her mixed up in all this?
Here we are, Joe.
Okay. That's the right house, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Norma's house.
All right, what's it going to be? Do we go in?
She'd cry. She'd only cry. Norma thinks a lot of me.
Yeah?
She's a swell girl. I don't want to have to tell her. She'd only cry.
Yeah.
I killed my aunt and uncle.
8 p.m. Buzz Apperson directed us to drive to San Pedro to the west basin of the Los Angeles harbor. We got out of the car and followed him to the end of one of the piers. He told us his story, and we put in a call to the office. Within half an hour, a fireboat and a barge were on the scene, and a diver was sent down into the water a few yards from the edge of the pier. We stood by and watched. Buzz Apperson, Ben, and I.
I put quite a bit of cyanide in the coffee. I had to be sure.
How'd you manage to get both of them in the car?
I waited till way after dark, and then I dragged them out. Drove down to the end of the pier right here. Put the car in low. It went over. Right where the diver went down. Just this end of the barge.
All right. There are those lines up there. There's the first one.
You better stand back here.
Yeah. Watch it.
Okay, sir.
Let's go. Buzz?
Yeah. My aunt.
Only one thing missing, Buzz.
Sir?
A reason. Why'd you do it?
I'm not sure anymore. Stolen car trouble, I guess. My trial was coming up. All that trouble. I didn't want my aunt and uncle to go through all that.
You mean that's why you killed him?
I think so. I didn't want them to be ashamed of me. That must sound funny.
Nobody's going to believe you.
Suppose I don't.
Yeah.
Will it make any difference?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 92, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To successfully prosecute a criminal suspect, the working detective gathers all available physical evidence. And in the crime lab, this evidence is carefully selected and screened to determine its worth. So with a cigarette. The makers of Fatima select and buy the finest tobaccos, both Turkish and domestic. And then these tobaccos are skillfully blended to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all, long cigarettes. Pack after pack, they're extra mild. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima.
Frank Buzz Apperson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and sentenced to life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Be sure to hear Theater Guild Sunday on NBC.
Johnny Madero, Pier 23. You know, it doesn't pay to buy a fast car in San Francisco because most of the time you got to be in low gear. The town is laid out like the profile of a chorus line.
And the only time it flattens out is where it runs into the bay. The waterfront goes from south of the ferry building out past the China docks. And on a clear day, you can see them batting baseballs over on Alcatraz. Pier 23 is over toward the left field side. And not far from there, you'll find Johnny Madero's boat shop. My place. Oh, I rent boats, and I do anything else that means long odds and short hours. It's a way to make a living. And if you never save enough to get married, at least you got enough to leave town. Maybe I should have left town Monday afternoon. I bought a paper, and I read about a build-up on a heavyweight fight in L.A. I stopped in at Lofty's, and the boys said neither one of those fighters could beat an egg with a power drill. About 3 o'clock, I started down Post Street when I spotted a new auction house. It was small, with enough dough-changing hands to buy back Manhattan Island. Inside it was packed, and up on a wooden stand, a bald-headed guy was selling everything but his suspenders. So I sat down and back, and I noticed a girl standing up against the wall. She was wearing dark green sunglasses, but the rest of her was just about as secret as a plow on the bathroom floor. Her hair was the color of midnight, and her dress was made of the kind of goods you buy from spiders. After a while, she walked over to me. Right away, she started to get nervous. When you look like her, you got a right to be.
Mind if I sit down?
They're your legs, lady. If you want to rest them, rest them.
Thanks. You seem to like the view.
Just temporary. I'm leaving.
Will you get excited if I ask you to stay?
Are you going to be proud if I do?
Please, I want you to do me a favor. It won't take long. It'll be a small one.
How small?
They're going to auction off a black leather suitcase in a few minutes. It belongs to me. I must have it back.
You speak the language. Do your own bidding, huh?
I don't want someone to know I'm here. It's important. I'll pay you $50 to bid for me.
You just hired me.
Just start bidding and keep on bidding till you get that suitcase. I want it at any price.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's a special item of interest. A black leather suitcase arrived yesterday. Contents unknown. It's handsome. It's beautiful. It's never been opened. Now, who's got sporting blood? The leather alone is worth at least $25, and it's heavy. It's heavy. It could be full of bricks, and it could be full of gold. That's what makes it interesting. Now, who's going to start the bidding? Who's going to start it off with a big one? $2. Oh, come on. That's an insult. $2? Who'll give 15? $10. 10. Who'll give 30? 10. Who'll give 30?
Start pitching for our team, mister.
$25.
50.
Double it.
100.
100. The man in the gallery bids 100. You heard him, folks. 100. Who'll give 200. 200.
You got competition, lady.
I got you. Keep doubling.
400.
400. That man in the gallery's got second vision. He knows what the suitcase is worth. The bid's 400. Who'll give 800? 4. Who'll give 8?
800.
800. The man in front here says 8. Who'll give 1,000? The bid's 800. Who'll give 1,000?
Go ahead. Surprise the man.
The OPA won't like this.
You're working for me now. Make it 1,000.
1,000.
1,000. The man is back. Bids $1,000. Who'll give 1,500? 1,000. Who'll give 1,500? All right. 1,000 once. 1,000 twice. 1,000 for the third and last time. Oh, too big. Show it to the men in the gallery. Please come up and pay this price now.
Here's the money. Pick it up and come back. I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
And don't let him open it. Whatever you do, don't let him open it.
It's your party, lady. I won't even let him peek.
There's the lucky man coming down the aisle now. Give him room. Give him room. Here he is, and here's your suitcase, mister. Want to open it and tell the folks what's inside?
Yeah, what's in it, Mac?
Just one of my relatives. Here's the dough.
Yeah, sure, all right. Now we have another item here.
Sorry, son. I was just going for the empty seat.
Yeah, we'll wait for your blockers next time, Pop. Where's the girl, the brunette with the dark glasses?
It's a jail term, son. I don't follow him home anymore.
Well, she was here a minute ago. You must have seen her leave.
No.
Think about it. She must have walked right past you. Think about it.
No, son. When you get to be my age, you don't even do that.
I felt kind of silly, the same way you do when you find a hole in your sock at the shoe store. But it wasn't my dough that bought that case, so I couldn't beef much. When I got back to the office, I started working on the lock with the key. The case was made of plain black leather, and it was kicked around more than Minnie's gong. Then I opened it. A shiny-looking saxophone was laid out in 3 parts. For $1,000, you can buy a whole brass section. So I went through each piece looking for a reason. There was a paper box inside the case. It had a gross of reeds in it. Same kind you find on the mouthpiece of any saxophone. I couldn't do much more, so I wrapped up the case and put it up in my closet. Then the door opened, and the trouble had a face. This was the way it looked in the morning. He stood there in the middle of the room, and his eyes held me like a fly at the end of 2 needles. You noticed his eyebrows. They were bushy and thick, and if they got any worse, he'd have to hire a native guide. Hello, you Madero? That's my story. You got a better one?
It's sadder than yours. I'm the guy you left behind at the auction. Who are you bidding for?
Who are you asking for?
Myself.
I suppose we get real friendly. What's your name?
Dunlap, Larry Dunlap. Now, introduce me to the girl who was coaching you.
All right. She was a souped-up brunette with a disappearing act. Now, what does that prove?
Unless you find her in the cemetery, never trust a woman. Especially Claire Underwood.
Yeah. What do you want from me?
I'll take that black leather suitcase you won at the auction.
Look, I saved you some dough. I'll make a pig of yourself. Try to be nice.
I will. I won't kick you when you're dead. Where's that suitcase? You're making me nervous.
So if you got an itch, see a doctor. What makes you so big?
Vitamins. I know all about the Saks Madero. It belongs to me. Give it to me or I start looking.
You better have a license. A Saks isn't that important.
It is to me. Maybe I want to start a hot shop.
I'll hold out for your girlfriend. She owes me $50 and I need the dough.
I'll double anything she gives you.
If you mean money, give me a hit.
What, $100 do?
Yeah. The Saks is in the closet on top. Come on. Give me a hand. Give me a hand.
Oh, sure. You've got a hand, Madero. Now play it out.
Some days you're not going to make out any better than an ice cube at a cocktail party. When Dunlap hit me, I folded up and my head got the size of a social worker's heart. Well, I started tossing around on the rug. It took me longer to stop than it took Hayden to quit Jersey. I knew that Saks was gone, so there was no point in getting up. I started dreaming about that day a Cleveland bellhop gave me a key to the wrong room. It was going all right, too, until somebody began shaking me. In that small room, I didn't have to look up to know who it was, because Inspector Warcheck of San Francisco Homicide is the kind of guy you stand next to in a hurricane and wonder what happened to the ventilation. Making a wish, Madero? Yeah, here, so it didn't come true. What are you collecting?
Alibis. What's yours for last night at 12 o'clock?
That wasn't bad.
You got a witness?
No, you can't win them all.
Yeah, that's the way a guy named Charlie Reiser felt.
So maybe it's an epidemic.
So maybe you started it. Someone shot him dead. The guy was a musician.
Try some of the neighbors.
I'll try you first.
You're reaching, Warcheck. I never even heard of the guy.
Oh, that's a handicap, Madero. Maybe you just heard of his instrument, huh?
All right, let me guess. It was a sack.
Hey, you're very bright. An auctioneer helped me trace it down to you. Now, what's the pitch?
A wild one, Warcheck. A dame forced me to do her a favor.
Uh-huh. I bet you force easy.
She paid me to bid for the sacks and then took a powder after I won it.
You got an active memory. Does it include a name?
Yeah. Claire Underwood. Run it down and see what it gets you.
Oh, now stop threatening me, Madero. I think that Saks is tied in with the murder. Now, where is it?
You're a little late. A torpedo named Larry Dunlap just walked in and sapped me for it.
Yeah? How hard did he sap you, Madero? There's a pool of blood behind your desk, and it doesn't look like yours. How'd it get there?
I don't know, Warcheck. Maybe somebody got lost and figured it was a blood bank. How do I know?
Yeah. Maybe they thought it was a morgue, too. Left a body. Now look around.
Yeah, do that. Look under the rug, too. Maybe the guy was thin.
All right, Madero. So far, you're in the clear. But if there's blood, there must be a body close by. It'll show. When it does, we'll turn it in for yours.
I'll remember.
Like you remember that $1,000?
Huh?
The auction house, Madero. The $1,000 you gave the joint got homesick and left.
I'm broke, Warcheck. You'll have to stand on your head to pin this on me.
Maybe I will.
Maybe you're right. I forgot about your head. Once Warcheck sticks to you, you might as well try to pull a mustard plaster off a throw rug. He stood there for a minute blinking at the light, and you could see big pebbles of sweat standing out on his forehead. He took a handkerchief out of his pocket, and when it came down, it was wet enough to wash all the windows in lower Manhattan. After a while, he walked out. I watched him out of the window. I tried to figure how I got into this. It was like trying to trace back a conversation to see what word started it. There were lots of questions and not too much time. Why was a saxophone in a grocer Reed's worth all that dough? And who left his blood on my rug as a deposit? The girl must have known what was in the case, but why did she leave it with me? Oh, I couldn't make it add up, so I looked up the only good guy I know, a waterfront priest named Father Leahy. He knows most of the bad boys around the piers, and he's heard enough sins to start an art colony. Around Lofty's, they got his name above the line, and that's a tough trick because along the waterfront, an archangel couldn't get a cup of coffee without hucking a wing. I found him over at the parish house having dinner.
Hello, Johnny. You want some wine?
No, thanks, Father.
That's one of the good things about this job. You get wine with your meals.
Yeah, I know.
Except you got to watch out. I knew a guy in the seminary liked to eat between meals.
Yeah.
But the bishop fixed him. He sent him to a rich parish, and the guy had to throw away half his sermons.
I'm in trouble, Father.
Did you buy elevator shoes, or is that a bump on your head?
Somebody knocked me down when I wasn't looking.
Did you get the license number?
It just felt like a truck. I got hit with a club. That's why I want you to help me, Father.
Johnny, you misinterpret my mission in life. You need a policeman. I'm only a priest. Besides, I'm eating.
Look, Father, homicide wants to tack a murder on me.
There goes my appetite. Who's dead? Anybody I could have helped?
His name was Charlie Reiser. He was a musician.
If he's going in the right direction, he may get some work. How did you meet him?
I didn't. I never heard of the guy. It was all a surprise to me.
Sounds more like a shock.
I got a bum shake from the start, Father. A gal with a big purse promised to pay me something if I'd bid for a black suitcase at an auction.
What was the matter with her? Laryngitis?
She was trying to keep somebody from noticing her, but she must have weakened in the final stretch.
What do you mean?
I won the bid with $1,000, but when I came back, the gal was gone.
And you were left holding the bag. What was in it?
A saxophone and a grocer reeds. You could buy the whole outfit with a $5 down payment.
What makes it worth $1,000?
I don't know, Father. The sax belonged to Charlie Reiser. A guy named Dunlap offered me $200 for it.
All that money for a saxophone, and they wouldn't allow me $40 on that old organ.
Dunlap slugged me when my back was turned and piled up a lead.
Did the sax go for free?
Somebody paid for it. When I woke up, there was a lot of blood on the floor.
Yours?
It was unclaimed, but I have an idea a body's going to turn up without it.
You have nothing but murder on your mind, Johnny. Why don't you settle down with a good book?
If Warcheck tags me, I'll have to borrow yours, Father. Right now, I need you to check on a few people for me.
Sure, but I'll need a couple of names for them first.
You know a lot of the combo boys, Father. Check up on Charlie Reiser's friends, especially his women. And find out where Larry Dunlap fits in. Will you do it, Father?
Yes, Johnny, I'll do it. But if I find out you're calling them wrong, I'll drop over to Warcheck's side.
Thanks, Father. If you help me out of this, you're a good guy. You're an angel.
But stop pushing me. I'm not that anxious yet.
When I left Father Leahy, I ran over my leads. You could have counted them on one finger, and you'd still have to cheat. The only guy worth looking up was the auctioneer on Eddy Street. Maybe that was all revenge. Why did he tell Warcheck that I took that $1,000 back? Well, I figured I'd find out, so I grabbed a cab back to his store. When I got there, the joint was locked up, but a big neon sign blinked the name J.C. Cole. There was another light coming from the back, so I followed it down. Inside, Cole was working over his cash register tape. I didn't knock, and right away he started making funny noises in his throat. I noticed he was wearing a vest without a tie, and his sleeves were rolled up with big rubber bands. His elbows stuck out, and they were red and knotted up like a baby's face with cramps. And then he made his opening bid.
It's a little late. What can I sell you, mister?
A straight story.
Huh?
The one you told headquarters had too many frills.
Hey, wait a minute. You're the same fellow who bought that suitcase.
You got a good head, friend. How good is it on robbery?
It was dark. I thought it was you, so I called the cops.
You started fast, but you're fading in the stretch.
$1,000 was gone. I figured you took your money back.
That's an early mistake. It wasn't my dough.
You sound like you're mad. Is that a gun in your pocket, huh?
If it makes you talk about that suitcase, I'll say yes.
I don't know what you mean. I said you were taking your chances. A ton of bricks, a ton of gold. Remember, I got to make a living, you know.
You don't have to crowd them in. What gives a sax a $1,000 price tag?
I don't know, I tell you. I don't know a thing.
Yeah, well, we'll go into politics later. I think you're lying.
It was just another suitcase, an old leather suitcase with a sax inside. I just tell you, I don't know a thing.
Yeah, keep it up, fella. You'll tell me everything that way. Now, how did you know there was a sax in that case if you never opened it?
Well, Now, listen, mister, let's be friends. I got a little money. Let's be friends.
Go on.
I was just trying to get a little ahead. I got a wife and a kid, a big kid, so I switched saxophones. I took out the original sax with the reeds and put in an older one.
What'd you do with the original?
It was a pretty nice one, brand new, so I sold it to someone, reeds and all, for $200.
You're slowing down. Who's someone, a relative?
He's a friend named Bud Overbeck. He plays tenor sax at the Downbeat Club. That original was something special, huh?
Yeah, you should have held out for $1,000 on both ends.
Now, listen, fella, Bud's a friend, a good friend on my wife's side. You won't hurt him, will you?
I'll send you a pint if he believes.
Yeah, sure. I'll save it. Anything else, huh?
Yeah. Stop stuttering. You'll give that kid of yours a complex. When he opened the door, you could tell he wanted to shake me worse than a summer cold. I didn't like him any better, but he'd given me something solid to work on. So I got over to the club Downbeat. It's a jazz cellar that warms over King Oliver at 6 bits a throw. 5-piece combo was writing a chorus slow and easy, and you knew the only notes they ever read were on IOUs. There were a dozen or so jazz fans huddled around the bandstand, and if you looked real close at their faces, you saw something that looked like pain. I asked the bartender who Overbeck was, and he pointed out the blonde kid with a face made of warm putty playing a black saxophone. I walked backstage to a small dressing room where the boys grabbed their second wind with a short one. When I opened the door, Claire Underwood stood there holding her breath.
Hello, Johnny. You look angry. Put away those daggers,
I will, baby. I'll guess that you killed Reiser for a saxophone.
Guess again. Why should I kill anyone for a sax?
Tell me why it's worth $1,000, and I'll answer that one, too.
All right, Johnny. I'm sentimental. Say Charlie Reiser was my boyfriend, and I wanted to keep his sacks as a memory.
Must have been quite a memory, baby.
You didn't meet Charlie.
But I did meet Larry Dunlap. He wanted the sacks, too. Why?
How would I know, Johnny? Maybe he was taking lessons.
They weren't that kind. He has too good a lip.
So have I. Only I use it differently.
All right, stop puckering, sweetheart. I want some sense now.
Please, Johnny, if you leave now, I'll give you double what I owe you from the auction.
That's not enough. Look, baby, count up your bills and tell me what a murder rap is worth, huh?
We'll haggle over it later, Johnny. Just meet me at the Ajax Hotel, and I promise you'll get a better figure.
Yeah. You gonna add some interest?
Come here, and I'll show you what I mean.
I'm not running a service. I need some answers. Come on. I want some action. Come on.
And use your arms, Johnny.
You got too big a mouth, baby. Somebody's gonna close it on you.
Show me, Johnny.
All right.
The music stopped, Johnny.
What do you care? We're not dancing.
Johnny, please, you're squeezing me too tight.
Yeah, it's a bad habit. Now tell me about that sax.
Listen to me, Johnny. I told you I got to see Overbeck first. I'll tell you everything later.
Yeah, after you talk Overbeck out of his sax, huh?
Yes. Is it a deal?
You're too anxious to sign. I'll talk to Overbeck myself.
All right, Johnny. I'll help you get him here quicker.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Scream, Johnny. Scream. Listen.
Louder, baby. You'll really need it in a minute.
Hey, what's the matter? What was she screaming about, mister?
She couldn't catch me.
This man's drunk. He was trying to snatch my purse.
Is that true, mister?
Call a cop and find out.
Yeah, I will.
No, please, don't bother. Just get him out. Just throw him out, Mr. Overbeck.
You heard the lady, mister? Do I get rough?
Save your strength, Overbeck. You'll need it later. Claire had a nice act if you didn't mind playing straight man to a vulture. She draped herself on Overbeck's arm, and she looked as cool as a vacation in Maine. As I walked out, Overbeck was still showing his teeth, but it didn't matter because you got the idea he wasn't strong enough to fight off a sneeze. Well, there wasn't much I could do except wait for Claire to show. But it started to drizzle, so I figured my best bet was her hotel. In the lobby, a rose-colored carpet with a touch of yellow jaundice led to the desk. The clerk told me she hadn't come in yet, but for $5 he could tell I was a friend. He gave me her key. I went upstairs, and when I opened Claire's door, I knew something was wrong. A lot of towels were thrown all over the floor, and everything was gone from the closet but the mothballs. Claire had skipped, and before I could walk out, Dunlap walked in. One hand was in his pocket, and the other had enough tape to wrap up a mummy.
Can I come in, Madero?
You're old enough, Dunlap. Make up your own mind.
I have. Where's Claire?
You're early. I think she's still busy.
Give me a magazine. I'll wait.
It'll be a long one. I'm not hanging around.
Oh, the fun's just beginning. Sit down. Sit down.
I guess I am tired.
Yeah, this gun makes everybody drowsy. Now, what's your time with Claire?
Nothing that's deep-rooted. Are you writing a column?
Yeah, the obituary, and you're going to make the morning deadline.
You're too cocky, Dunlap. Don't turn your back.
I won't. Claire blew her chance. The best she could do was disarm.
Yeah, you ruined my carpet.
When they pass your cup around, I'll be jealous. In the meantime, you're going to stick around until Claire brings that black saxophone.
I hope she's got some food in the icebox.
What do you mean?
Well, if you're waiting for that sax, we're going to starve to death. Claire's not going to show.
What makes you a prophet?
A guy named Bud Overbeck. He had the sax last, and Claire was working him over for it.
I'll work you over for less. What are the rest of her plans?
She was warm. Maybe she left a smoke signal.
All right. You're getting too stubborn.
Put away the gun, Dunlap. You can only use one arm.
I'll clean the bases with this index finger. Pick a spot to fall.
Hey, don't clutter up the floor now, Dunlap. We got company.
Hey, what's this, the wrong room? Claire said we'd be alone.
We are. Just the three of us.
Who's he, Madero?
Huh? What are you talking about? Claire told me to come here. She told me to wait for her.
Look, fella, save your lip for another chorus. Just tell me where she left you.
I don't feel so good. She was at the Downbeat Club. She was helping me put my sax away. I just came up here to wait. We were going to be alone.
All right, fella. I'm cutting down the crowd. You with Madero now? I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm going home, too. I feel sick. I'm going home.
You'll never make it on your knees. What's the matter?
I don't know. I guess I gave the new horn too big a ride tonight. I got a weak heart.
Your eyes aren't too strong either. You're walking right into that closet.
They told me not to play so hard. Maybe I played too hard. Help me, fella. You look familiar. I seen you somewhere, huh? You look fuzzy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel sick. Someone must have slipped me something. I never felt like this before. I'm sick. Real sick.
You'll never get any sicker, fella. Overbeck was dead even before he had a chance to see if Gabriel paid his boy's scale. He hit the floor and turned over on his back, and you figured he'd cross the River Jordan with a backstroke. I got a good look at him now. His face was all twisted up like bed sheets after a nightmare, and up near his hairline, a long, thin scar ran into his scalp. Well, I didn't know what killed Overbeck, but whatever it was, he didn't get 2 weeks' notice. I figured if homicide caught me here, I'd get my walking papers, too, right down to the last 20 feet. I started for the door, but Warchick opened it for me. He looked at the body and then over to me.
You on a spree, Madero?
If you're footing the bill, Warchick.
The state will from now on. Now tell me about the guy on the floor.
He's dead.
Must have had parents. What's his name?
Bud Overbeck. He was a musician at the Downbeat Club.
Yeah. Tell me some more.
Roll him, Warchick. Maybe he's got a diary.
Here's his wallet. All right, Madero. How long you been here?
Why?
The wallet's empty.
Well, that's too bad. Your girlfriend's going to have to get along with last week's presents.
I trail a guy named Dunlap up to this apartment, and I find you and a dead body. Now, there's a tie, any way you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just what happened?
I don't know, Warchick. I didn't see the picture. I just tagged by for the end. You know?
Must have been a sad one. I think he's poisoned. Don't like the look in his eyes.
Get the girl who put it there.
Well, just give me a hint. Huh?
Overbeck was playing caveman with Claire Underwood before he came up here.
What does that give him besides hair?
Maybe a Mickey. When I left, she was warming up an argument for his saxophone.
She get it?
She didn't. Dunlap's losing man-hours. He just walked out here, and I think she's in his list.
Yeah. I'm beginning to get an idea now myself.
Does it hurt?
You and the Underwood girl are running some kind of a racket with that saxophone. She left you behind her front for her.
You haven't seen her, Warchick. She doesn't need that kind of help.
But you will when I get through checking. Still got a few calls to make, and I want the lab to work over the body. By then, I'll have enough to come back and hold you, Madero.
You couldn't hold a lapdog with a suction pump.
All right, big shot. I'll go a long way to get you for this. A long way.
You got the drag, Warchick.
Yeah. It's going to slow you down a little.
Warchick wanted to mother the body until the coroner came, and when I left, he was squeezing himself into a chair. He fit tighter than a whale in a crib. You could word it any way you liked, but the big riddle was that saxophone. Claire had it, and Dunlap wanted it, and a couple of guys died for it. My only alibi was Dunlap, but you might as well ask Con to hold still for Lewis. I buzzed back to the office, but there was no message from Father Leahy, so I stared out the window for a while, wondering how to bake a cake with a dynamite charge when the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Johnny. This is Father Leahy.
What'd you find out, Father?
It's not pleasant, Johnny. I'm down at the morgue. The lab report on Bud Overbeck just came in.
He died of poisoning, huh, Father?
The bitter kind. Overbeck's heart couldn't stand all that dope. Coroner found a used saxophone reed in Overbeck's pocket. It was soaked in hop.
So that's what made that saxophone so big. The grosser reeds.
That's right, Johnny. Overbeck was absorbing the stuff while he played. He probably never knew what hit him.
Well, what about Reiser? How does he figure?
Reiser was making his pin money peddling dope to nightclubs. He was getting his shipments from Mexico.
How did Claire and Dunlap figure?
There were a couple of partners who wanted to ease out Reiser and go into business for themselves.
The idea must have gone to Claire's head. She's doing a solo now, and Dunlap thinks she has the sax.
Warchick feels the same way about you, Johnny. He's out to tag you for everything.
He's smarter than that.
I don't know him that well. But it adds up in his book because he thinks you're leaving town. Someone's booked a passage on the 2 a.m. plane from Mexico this morning in the name of J. Madero.
I'm being jockeyed, Father. It's either Claire or Dunlap. They're both as black as sin.
Maybe so, but Warchick still thinks you're the dark horse.
Up until now, it was like trying to sell a toupee to a bald-headed eagle. But when the turn comes, everything happens in a hurry, and you began breaking more records than a disc jockey with a hangover. If Father Leahy was right, Claire or Dunlap had enough dreams in that saxophone to start a waltz contest, and I knew if they both got out of town, Warchick would be around to tag me for the last dance. So I got out to Mills Field, and out on the far end of the strip, a twin-engine plane was warming up. Claire was standing with her back toward me, and even from here you could see what a stiff tailwind could do to a landing gear. When she saw me, she raised her eyebrows and figured her temperature was even higher.
Sorry I had to borrow your name, Johnny.
You're too small for it, baby.
I got a big ego.
And that gun bolsters it, huh?
That's my story.
Well, tell it to homicide. They'll take a nibble on either you or Dunlap.
Better throw him Dunlap. I got a date in Mexico City.
It's a blind one, baby. You're going in the wrong direction.
Larry, what are you doing here? I thought you
I want those reeds, baby.
You'll be peddling pencils when I'm through with you.
I'll leave the sights, too, baby. I'll be lonely.
You won't need that kind of music where you're going, Larry.
You're the ones that talk, baby. I trusted you. We were going to do this together. I trusted you.
We all make mistakes. You got the short end.
I'll stretch it a little. You got another chance. Let's team up again.
Sorry, Larry. I'm crowding you out.
You only think so.
Now get out of my way. I got to make the plane.
Make a grave first. I want that stuff.
I won't miss again. Stay away, Larry.
Put up a sign.
Yeah.
You missed again. Give me the gun.
No, I'm selfish. I'll hold on. Pull him off me, Madero. Pull him off.
There's a log.
All right, baby. You run out of chances. It's my turn now.
No. Please, Larry. Put the gun away. You win. I'll split it with you now. You win. Honest, Larry, you win.
Just to show you I agree.
You're through, guy. Drop the gun.
Yeah. What are the odds of my getting away in that plane?
70-30, maybe.
Things are too tough at 50-50. Come on, I'll ride downtown with you.
Well, Dunlap told the whole story down at headquarters. It seems that Reiser, Claire, and he were buying dope from Mexico and peddling it here in the form of soaked-up reeds. Reiser was contact man in Mexico, but the only way they knew him down there was by his black saxophone. Claire and Dunlap decided to narrow the profits down to 2 by shooting Reiser and taking over. Claire used the gun, and, well, that started her to thinking that she could do even better with a single act. She needed that black sax, though. Reiser got wind of it and hid the sax with the reeds in the basement. His landlady found it after he was tumbled and sold it to that auction house. And Claire had me buy it and then followed me back to the office where she tried to peg down Dunlap. The sax she took turned out to be a phony because the auctioneer had already sold the black one to Bud Overbeck. The track was switched to him, but not soon enough. Overbeck didn't know the reeds were loaded, and after an all-night jam session, he folded up with a heart attack. Well, Warchek asked only one question. Wasn't it tough luck for an innocent guy like Overbeck? I don't know. At least there was one time he played right out of this world.
Johnny Madero, Pier 23, starring Jack Webb as Johnny Madero, has been presented by the Mutual Network. Johnny Madero is written by Herb Margolis and Lou Morheim. Gail Gordon played Father Leahy, and Bill Conrad played Inspector Warchek of Homicide. Others in the cast were Helene Burke, Bob Holton, Herb Butterfield, Irvin Lee, and Herb Rollinson. Original music was composed and conducted by Harry Zimmerman, and the entire production was directed by Nat Wolfe. We invite you to listen again next week over most of these stations when Mutual presents another adventure in the life of Johnny Madero, Pier 23. Tony Lafrano speaking.
This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A small bakery shop in your city is held up. A man and his daughter are shot down without reason. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, November 3rd. It was chilly in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Ed Walker. My name's Friday. It was 5 minutes to midnight when we got to 318 Silver Avenue, Stendel's bakery shop.
Yeah?
Romero and Friday sent for robbery.
Hi, I'm Jacobs, Unit 16R. My partner Olson's back there in the shop talking to the owner.
You answered the call, did you?
Yeah, must have been a crazy man. Shot two of them down, cold blood. There they go in the ambulance now. Shot up pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Who runs the place?
Swedish family named Stendal. Father, mother, two daughters. All four of them work in the bakery here.
Mm-hmm. They all here at the time of the robbery?
Yeah, the hold-up man shot the father and the oldest daughter. The mother and the younger girl are in the back, straight through that door.
Okay. Thanks, Jacob.
Right, Sergeant.
Joe. On the side of the door here. Looks like a bullet hole.
Yeah. Hey, Jacob.
Yes, Sergeant.
You want to call into the crime lab, ask them to send somebody out?
Right.
Thank you.
Hi. You Olson?
That's right.
Romero and Friday sent for robbery.
Oh, how are you? These are two of the victims, Mrs. Signey Stendal. The girl's her daughter, name's Jennifer.
Any other witnesses?
Not so far. Neighborhood around here is pretty deserted this time of night. Hold-up man made a fast getaway.
And two people who were shot. What kind of shape are they in?
The father, Mr. Stendal, he's got a bullet wound in the right shoulder. Older daughter's a lot worse. Her name's June. 19 years old. Shot 4 or 5 times through the stomach.
Mm-hmm. You want to stand by?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Stendal, we're from robbery detail.
Ja, how do you do?
How do you do?
Jenny, var snäll och se om sittplats för herrarna. 2 stolar.
Yes, Mama.
You will excuse me for not getting up, officer. I don't feel so well.
That's perfectly all right, ma'am.
Chair for you, officer.
Oh, thank you. I'll get it.
Thank you very much. You and your daughter here were in the front of the bakery shop at the time of the robbery. Is that right, Miss Stendal?
No. Jenny was back here with her father. That's Lars, my husband. Uni and I were in the shop in front.
Oh, who were you with, ma'am?
Uni and I.
Joe?
Mama means June, my older sister. She calls her June.
Yeah, June.
Oh, well.
You mind telling us what happened?
Well, June and I was scrubbing the floor of the shop. Every Tuesday night we scrubbed the floor of the shop. Then this man came in and pointed a gun. He wanted our money.
About what time did he come in?
11:15, 11:20. I don't remember for certain. He wanted our money and I gave it to him.
How much was that, ma'am?
Jenny, du vet. Hur mycket pengar var det förresten?
$24.
Yeah, $24. Just the paper money. He took it and put it in his pocket. June, my daughter, she started to cry. The man hit her. She cried some more. Then Lars and Jenny came running from the back.
Yes, ma'am.
The man pointed the gun. He made Lars and me and Jenny stand against that wall. But not June. He took hold of her. Jenny, hur ser du dig? Den vägen din mannen, han var där. June...
It was getting fresh with her, Mom. The man tried to get fresh with June officers. June hit him. He tried to drag her out the door with...
Yeah, Jenny hit him. Hit him good. And he went like that, threw her against the counter and pushed June down. Crazy man. Crazy look. He kicked her.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lars, my husband, he ran at the man. He heard the gun loud. And Lars fell down.
And I screamed.
Yeah. Jenny screamed. I turned and I saw the man standing over June. He pointed the gun down at her.
Yes, ma'am.
crazy look on him. He kept shooting her 4, maybe 5 times. Eunice screamed. She kept screaming. The men ran out the door.
It's all right now, Miss Linda.
Had either one of you ever seen this man before?
No.
Neither did I.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
Yeah, I think so.
I would, officer. I got a good look at him. He was wearing a blue cap like a baseball player wears.
Mm-hmm. How'd he get away? Was he on foot or did he have a car?
Nobody followed him, but after he left, I heard a car start up down the block, and then it drove away.
Do you have anything else to add, Mrs. Stendhal?
I hope you catch the man. He's bad. Please catch him.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to try.
Jenny, var snäll och ge mig Nichols ifrån kassan.
Yes, Mom. Here, Mama.
Here, officer. When you find the man, please call me.
You keep the nickels. We'll call you. Before we left the scene of the robbery and shooting, Mrs. Stendhal and her daughter gave us their description of the hold-up man, together with the clothing he wore. The suspect had no outstanding physical characteristics that they'd noticed. The only thing unusual about his clothing was that he wore what appeared to be a baseball cap at the time of the hold-up. She described the cap as light blue with a visor. Together with Officers Bechtel and Lopez from Central Robbery, we canvassed the immediate neighborhood for other possible witnesses. We found none. The next morning, we went out to the hospital. The condition of the older daughter, June, was critical. We interviewed the father. He could tell us nothing. At 10 a.m., Mrs. Stendhal and her younger girl, Jenny, were brought to the office, and we started them looking through mug books of parolees previously convicted of armed robbery. Within 2 hours, both of them positively identified the picture of a recent San Quentin release as that of the hold-up man. His name was Harold Best. We started a quick rundown.
You pulled the package, Johnny?
Yeah, here's the dope. Harold Best. Alias Harold Norris, alias Harold Thompson, alias Tom Norris. One term for armed robbery in Q. Got out 4 months ago. Ammo and description both match.
How about the ex-con files you checking?
He's registered. Did you get a hold of his parole officer?
Yeah, 2440 Excelsior Avenue's rooming house.
Well, that checks with the ex-con files.
Parole officer says Best went to work 2 weeks ago at a filling station over on Vermont.
Yeah?
Doesn't seem to be able to hold a job. Quarrelsome, run himself into debt. I got it. Robbery, Romero. Yeah, right. That's all, huh? Yeah. Right, bye. Ray Pinker at the crime lab. They checked the slugs taken from the 2 victims.
Yeah?
They came from a .32 caliber revolver. Probably a Colt.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
That's it. Not too bad a start.
We've had worse.
Yeah. Maybe we can make that phone call pretty quick.
2 p.m. Wednesday. Ben and I drove out to his rooming house at 2440 Excelsior Avenue, and we found that Herbert Best was still living there. We had the landlady show us his room. Besides the usual personal belongings, we came across nothing of consequence. After questioning the landlady, we drove to the service station on Vermont Avenue, where Best was supposed to be employed.
I don't see anyone around.
Oh, hey, there's a fellow over there greasing your car in there, right?
Oh, yeah. That looks like Best.
Mm-hmm. Hey, fella. You.
Yeah?
Can you tell us if there's a Herbert Best working here?
Sure, I'm him. Why?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Yeah? What's the matter?
Routine investigation. Got a few questions for you.
Supposed to have this car greased up a 3:45. What am I supposed to do, please? You're the boss.
I'll find him, Joe. You got any heat on you?
No. What's it all about?
How long's this going to be?
A couple of minutes. Won't take more than a grease job. Put this thing in shape.
We'll wait for you.
How'd you find me? That nosy landlady of mine?
No, routine channel.
Every fettin' on this trap is froze. Piece of junk. Well, what's it all about?
Got a few things to straighten out, Best. How long you been working here?
Well, you didn't drive out here for that. That's not your game. What's the pitch?
Routine investigation. We'd like to know where you've been spending your nights.
For instance?
Sunday night, where were you?
Well, I don't know. I went to a show. Yeah, I saw a Mickey Rooney picture.
Where?
Downtown. I had a beer after the show, come home.
Well, how about Monday night?
I went home after work. I was pooped. Went to bed early.
Can you prove it?
Landlady saw me come in, always snooping around. She ought to know if I was there or not.
How about last night, Tuesday?
Played some cards with a friend of mine, him and his wife, Penny Annie Booker.
Where?
Their place, it's down on Pico, near the park. You can ask them.
What time did you get there?
Oh, I'm not sure. About 8 o'clock, I guess.
What time did you leave?
What's it all about?
What time did you leave?
Around midnight, yeah. Must have been around midnight.
What'd you play with your friend and his wife?
Poker. I lost as usual. Took a streetcar home, went to bed.
Sure you didn't leave earlier?
Of course I'm sure. It was around midnight, I remember.
How do you remember?
I looked at my watch. Good enough for you?
What time did you get home?
Well, it takes about a half hour on a trolley. Must have been about 12:30.
Did your landlady see you come in?
I don't know if she saw me or not. Always snooping around. Probably did.
You're not sure?
No, of course I'm not sure. She looks for me. I don't look for her.
You own a gun, Best?
You know better than that, copper. Ex-cons can't have a gun.
Your friend and his wife. Now, they're going to back you up if you were playing cards with them till midnight?
Why not? I was. Say, there's the boss looking for me. I better let him know I'm here.
Just a minute, Best.
Yeah?
What's that you got in your back pocket there?
Huh?
In your back pocket, the right one there.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Baseball cap. Why?
4 p.m. Ben and I checked the suspect's locker at the service station and then drove him back to the office, the interrogation room. We continued questioning him. He denied any knowledge of the holdup and shooting at Stendhal's bakery shop the night before. We asked him again about the friends he was supposed to be playing cards with at the time of the robbery. He told us that they lived over on Pico, but he couldn't remember the address. He volunteered to direct us there, but he said they wouldn't be home. He told us their names were Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Mitchell, and that they were in charge of the food concessions at one of the football stadiums in town. Best was held for suspicion of robbery. That night, we drove out and interviewed the landlady at his boarding house. She knew nothing of Best's whereabouts the previous night. She didn't know what time he left or what time he returned. Ben and I went over his room again. There was no sign of a gun. Friday, 2 p.m. Officers Bechtel and Lopez went out to the hospital to see if Mr. Stendhal and his daughter June could identify Best's mugshot. Ben and I drove out to the stadium to locate Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Mitchell. There was a high school football game going on.
High school kids sure have a lot of fun nowadays. Best years of your life, Joe.
Well, you sound like you're 85.
Some nights I feel like it. The way those kids turn out for these things, you'd think USC and Notre Dame were playing.
You see the number on that gate over there?
Yeah, it's 23. That the number the gatekeeper gave me?
Yeah. Must be the Mitchell stand over there. Come on.
Oh, miss, can you tell us where to find Mr. and Ms. Mitchell?
Yeah, around back to the stand here. Knock on the door.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on in.
You Ms. Mitchell?
That's all right. What is it?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to you if you have a few minutes.
All right, I'm having to buy the lunch, but come on in. Shut the door.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, the food business, you never get a chance to feed yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, care for some of these? New kind of potato chip. Revolutionary, it says.
Oh?
Mother Thompson's puff chips, flavored. Got all kinds, see? These here are a combination, see, garlic and eggplant. Sure tastes different. Have some?
No, thank you very much.
I would. Thank you. See, we're inquiring about a friend of yours, Ms. Mitchell. Maybe you can tell us something about him.
Oh, who's that?
Man by the name of Herbert Best.
Herb, yeah, old-time friend of my husband's. What do you want to know?
You see him quite often, do you, Miss Mitchell?
Mm-hmm. Once, twice a month. Clyde and I play cards or go out bowling with him. Herb's pretty good company.
Uh-huh. When's the last time you saw him?
Early this week, Tuesday, I think it was.
Sure, it was Tuesday.
See, yeah. It was. We played cards. Why?
That's your place?
That's right, a little poker. Clyde and Herb and me.
What time did Best get to your place, Ms. Mitchell?
Right after I finished up with the dinner dishes, around 7:45, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. How long did he stay?
A couple of hours. We sat around, had a few drinks, played poker, nickel limit.
What time did he leave? Do you remember that?
A little before 10, I think.
I'm sure of that, ma'am. It's important.
Sure as I can be. Must have left before 10 because Clyde and I listened to the 10 o'clock news alone. Then we went to bed right after.
Your friend Bess tells us he didn't leave your place until midnight.
Oh, that's not right. There must be mixed up. He left before 10, I'm sure of that.
All right, Miss Mitchell. Thank you.
Say, I hope I haven't said anything I shouldn't have. I know Herb's an ex-con.
Yeah,
He likes to gamble. You're not checking up on him for Tuesday night, are you?
that's right.
You playing too much poker?
We're not playing enough. 3:30 p.m. We located Mr. Mitchell, corroborated his wife's story, and then we went back to the city hall. Officers Bechtel and Lopez were waiting for us. They told us that they had seen Mr. Stendhal and his daughter, June, at the hospital. Both of them had identified Herbert Best's mugshot as that of the holdup man. At a show-up, Mrs. Stendhal and her daughter identified Best. We checked auto records for all stolen cars that might tie in. There were none. We then started to work on the theory that he had taken a bus from his friend's place where he had been playing cards to the Stendhal bakery where the shooting took place. Lopez and Bechtel rode the bus over the same route. It took 43 minutes. Plenty of time for Best to have gotten from one place to the other, even on a slow run. We interviewed the bus driver who'd been on duty that particular line Tuesday night between 10 p.m. and midnight. He identified Best as one of his passengers, but he didn't remember where he got off. The next morning, Ben and I met with Ed Walker, captain of robbery.
Hi. How'd you make out? Just saw the deputy DA. Laid out the case for him.
Yeah?
We got the complaint. He'll be arraigned this afternoon.
How strong a case you got?
Well, each one of the Stendhal family identified Best. His alibi didn't stand up for Tuesday night.
Uh-huh.
And we got that bus driver. He tapped Best, too. And that blue baseball cap. All we need now is the holdup gun.
I hate to spoil it for you. This letter just came through in the mail. Have a look.
Okay.
What do you think?
I read in the paper this morning about Herbert Best. You got the wrong guy. I'm the one who held up that bakery.
Every detail about that robbery's written down in that letter. The information wasn't in the newspaper story. Nobody else but the hold-up man would know all those details.
Yeah, wait a minute. Listen to this.
Yeah?
If you don't believe I'm the right man, I'll shoot up a couple of more jerks. Next time, I'll kill them.
It's no crank letter.
No, it isn't.
You got the wrong man.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to this case history recorded by a typical Fatima smoker.
Hi there. My name is Bab Beckwith. Bab, that's short for Bethany Ann Beckwith. I live in New York City, and I'm a fashion stylist. The other day, at a showing of the new fall styles, I ran out of cigarettes. A friend of mine, a designer, introduced me to the new long Fatima. I really wish someone had told me about them sooner. Fatimas are a lot milder than the cigarettes I've been smoking, and they have a delightful flavor, too. I'm very glad to recommend them to you, because I know from experience it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatimas.
And more smokers every day are finding that out. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
After we received the anonymous letter in the mail confessing to the Stendhal Bakery holdup, we met with the deputy district attorney. We acquainted him with the new facts in the case. That afternoon, the charges against Herbert Best were dropped. We started again at the beginning. 10 a.m. Monday, November 9th. The members of the Stendhal family were again shown mug books of ex-cons with robbery records. This time they picked out 8 mug shots of known robbery men, each with a marked resemblance to the original suspect, Herbert Best. Together with officers Bechtel and Lopez, we started checking them out. The first 2 days, we tracked down 4 of the 8. All of the 4 were in the clear. 5:15 p.m., we got back to the city hall, the carpool.
See any empty spots, Joe?
No, but don't park it in any one of the city councilman's stalls.
Yeah, I might get sore.
Well, why don't you pull up here? Boyd will take care of it.
Yeah, okay.
That's good right here.
Doggone it, I knew there's something I forgot to do.
What's that?
Oh, they had an underwear sale today. That place down in South Fig. Shorts, T-shirts. Wife told me to be sure and get down there.
Well, there'll be another one. That place has sales all the time, don't they?
Only twice a year on underwear. Stuff I've got's not going to last till next time.
Friday? Sam? Wait a minute.
Gene Beck.
Yeah. Hi, Beck.
Hi. Going up?
Yeah. How'd you make out?
2 men we checked were clean. We picked up something 77th Street station. Now, go ahead, Ben.
Mm-hmm. Well, watch that elevator door.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, what's with 77th Street?
A couple of men in traffic out there covered an accident this afternoon. 91st and Central hit and run.
That's so?
One of our traffic cars saw the collision, took out after the guy. Chased him 10 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
While they were chasing him, they thought they saw the driver throw something out of the car window.
Yeah, what?
I'm coming to that. When they finally pulled the car over, gray coupe. The driver told him his shoulder was wrenched in the accident. He was on his way to his own doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Our men took him to 77th Street, had the doc there look at him.
Yeah.
Well, the doc was treating the guy. Only one of the officers was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
When he turned to get a drink of water, the suspect slugged him, then the doctor. Jumped out of the window, got away. Teletype's out on him.
We went to an awful lot of trouble to beat a traffic rap.
Yeah, that's the way to impress the boys out there. They got out of broadcasting the guy, went back to the spot where they thought they saw the guy toss this thing out of his car when they were chasing him.
Did it pay off?
They found a .32 Colt revolver. Our Russ Camp's checking it now over in the crime lab.
What did they say the man looked like?
Description measures pretty close to our holdup guy.
I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, just a minute. See you back.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Russ. Yeah. Okay, fine, right. Russ Camp checked the .32 revolver with the slugs in the Stendhal case.
Yeah.
Positive make.
The gray coupe, which the unidentified suspect had been driving, had been checked out by traffic officers at 77th Street Division. They had found that the owner and driver of the car was a man named Bruno Stock, a 2-time loser with a page full of major and minor crimes to his credit. We checked his mama sheet, and we got out a broadcast on him in an APB. A stakeout had been placed at his last known address. We picked up a sandwich and a cup of coffee for dinner, and then we started checking out Bruno Stock's relatives and friends. By 6 o'clock the following night, we still had no idea where he was. A little after 9 p.m., we got a call from an informant who told us that a Tommy Josephson, a small-time thief and reputedly a friend of Bruno Stock's, wanted to talk to us. We found him in a small apartment over on West 6th.
One thing I want to set you straight on. Bruno's no friend of mine. He's in on the heavy rackets. No heavy racket man's a friend of mine.
All right, we got it. Now where's Bruno?
He came here tonight, 6:15, moved right in on me, didn't even ask me.
What do you want with you?
Now, you remember, Bruno's no friend of mine.
Yeah, we got that. Now, what do you want?
A gun. He knew I had one. I keep it for self-protection. You can't trust these heavy men.
Did you give him the gun?
Give it to him. He took it. Shook me down like a rat. Made me go out and buy dinner for him. My own dough. Have to bring it back here from.
Yeah.
Bruno's no friend of mine. What he does with that gun is his grief. It's out of my hands.
When did he leave here?
An hour ago, I think. Maybe a little less. Shook me down like a rat. Real heavy guy.
Where was Bruno going?
I don't know. He's crazy. All them heavy guys are crazy. Talk like somebody with a paper head.
Did he tell you where he was going?
See a friend of his over in Dogtown. Guy runs a bowling alley. Bruno's going to borrow his car.
What for?
He's heavy, I tell you. Said he was going out on a heist tonight. Did he ever write you guys a letter?
Why?
Well, he told me he was going to prove what he wrote to you. Crazy. I didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
Said he was going out to kill a couple of jerks.
9:30 p.m. We got the address of the bowling alley run by Bruno Stock's friend, and we called the office. An alert for the suspect was broadcast immediately. Together with Gene Bechtel and Lopez, we drove to the bowling alley. Ben and I went in. Bechtel and Lopez covered the outside.
It's a good crowd. I wonder where they do business. I don't see any counter.
No, neither do I.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Way over in the corner.
Oh, yeah. There's nobody behind the cash register. How about that fellow in the white T-shirt standing by the cigarette machine?
Yeah, looks like he works here. Let's go. Joe, guy with him. Just turned towards
Bruno, come on.
He sees us. He's going to the back.
All right, you, let's hold it up. Come on.
He ducked in there to the right, Joe.
Down behind the alley. Hold it up, Stock.
The window, Joe.
He went right through it. Come on. Here.
There he is. Get out.
Joe?
He's in there, Beck. Cover the front.
Right.
Over the fence, Joe. There he is.
All right, give it back.
Yeah.
Come on.
Got to be in the yard someplace.
Yeah.
Where'd it come from?
I can't see. Keep down.
Backstairs of that house. There he is.
Give it up, Doc. All right, mister.
Your tag. Come on. What's it look like?
Wait a minute. It's a shoulder wound. You want to shake him down?
Yeah.
Joe? Ben? You all right?
Yeah. Get an ambulance, will you, Beck?
Right.
I'll throw the cuffs on him, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's it, Joe.
Yeah.
Where you going?
I got a phone call to make.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 84, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb. Thank you. In the Record Bureau of all metropolitan police departments, there's a special file in which all known criminals are cataloged and cross-indexed according to identifying marks. Marks which help the working detective. And so, with the cigarette, the outstanding identifying mark of Fatima is quality. The careful selection and blending of only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker, you'll find, like I did, that every pack is extra mild. You'll find it's the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Bruno Alfred Stock was tried and convicted of first-degree robbery and assault with intent to commit murder, 2 counts. Because of his prior convictions, he was adjudged an habitual criminal and sentenced to a life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Next Tuesday, it's Fibber McGee on NBC. My name's Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Gambler and His Lady.
You'll find it in Hollywood, on Taft Avenue. 4-story apartment building, the color of a rainy afternoon. They call it the Havenwood. It sags in the middle like a tired frankfurter. That's where I live. Apartment 3K. 2 rooms with a pull-down bed and a pair of windows that stick when it's hot. Oh, the view isn't much. 6 strands of telephone wire and the head of a shaved-off palm tree. Beyond is the city, L.A., spread out on the map like a raw egg with a broken yolk. Oh, the town's all right, I guess, if you can afford the sedatives. The Lion likes it. He set himself up as a receiving clerk for trouble, and I work for him. It was about 11:15 Tuesday night when my phone began making itself felt. Turned out to be the Lion breathing hard. It figured he was running his fingers over a greenback.
Want to hear the sound of a brand new $50 bill?
Send me a record.
What's the matter? You sound like you're flat on your back.
How do you sleep?
Who's sleeping? I'm working, and that's what you're going to be doing.
Try me tomorrow.
Throw on some clothes. You going down to Venice Boulevard to see a lady. She's got daughter trouble.
Well, marry her off.
She didn't pay us $50 for that. The problem goes deeper.
How much?
She'll tell you.
I want it from you.
I don't know it all for sure.
Don't you ever check into things?
I do the general work. You get the details.
Yeah, you drag a wet rag over the 50, and if the ink stays on, we got a client.
That's insulting.
How would you know?
Regan, you don't want to keep a lady waiting. Now get a move on.
Give me the name.
Mrs. Eleanor Bascom, Pier Hotel.
Yeah?
And phone me after you talk to her.
What for?
I want to be sure it's legit.
Do you care?
Better make that call to me tomorrow after 10. I'm sort of going to be tied up till then.
Doing what?
Sleeping.
Well, I put on some clothes, picked up my car, and moved out to Venice Boulevard. The good humor men were all gone, and I had the street to myself. 20 minutes later, I came to a stop beside a garbage can near San Pedro. Behind it stood the Pier Hotel, a 2-deck pile of wood left over from the sinking of the Spanish Armada. There was a black and dirty white sign outside, said rooms 50 cents, weekly and monthly rate. The names Eleanor and Georgia Bascom showed in the mailbox and gave a room 210. I climbed a flight of stairs and walked down a hall that looked like a passageway in a pyramid. It was dark, and it took my cigarette lighter to turn up the numbers. 210 finally showed, and I rapped on the door. A bush of black and gray hair pulled it open. It was wearing a red kimono and an impatient look, like a tax collector in January. She was pushing 50 and looked tired.
Yes?
I'm Regan, international detective.
Oh, yes, Lion's Eye. I've been waiting for you. Come in. I'm Mrs. Bascom.
Eleanor or Georgia?
Georgia's my daughter. I want to apologize for getting you out here this time of night, Mr. Regan, but it's urgent.
The Lion said that the girl's the problem, huh?
Yes.
How old is she?
22.
Who's the man?
How'd you know there was a man?
Well, what other kind of trouble would she go after?
She's a good girl, Mr. Regan. She always has been.
Until now, huh?
That's what I want to know.
Well, she's old enough to call her place.
That's not the advice I'm paying for.
Where'd you get the 50?
It took a lot of saving.
All right, give me his name.
Louis Desmond.
Gambler, card sharp, bookie, all-around con man.
He's got a card room out toward Gardena someplace, a 5 Aces club.
What does your daughter see in him?
Oh, it's this place. The way we have to live. She's tired of having nothing. I've tried, but she's looking for a change.
And taking a wrong turn.
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, other girls have it real tough. They go to work.
Well, we had a little trouble in the family once. It shows up if someone starts looking.
When can I talk to Georgia?
Well, you'll have to work that out yourself, Mr. Regan.
What does that mean?
She put some clothes in a suitcase and left earlier this evening. That's why I had to call you so suddenly.
Mm-hmm. Where'd she go?
Louis is a real bum, Mr. Regan.
You talk like you know him.
We've met. I want to know just what's going on. If Louis is forcing her into anything crooked.
She force easy?
A fur coat makes a young girl do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a picture of her. You may need it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very good, but the only one I've got.
I'll make it work.
Well, that's about all, Mr. Regan. Get in touch with me as soon as you get something.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm the kind of person who sometimes gets hysterical over things, but I'm also the kind who demands results.
You sound like a radio commercial. It was after midnight when I followed the fog out Vermont toward Gardena. The yellow lights were pressing, but they were doing about as much good as a pint of bourbon at a Shriners convention. I wound around the flatland for a while before the 5 Aces Club turned up by a bend in the road. It looked like a blue wart with a neon sign. There was a front door and a back one, and a couple of pairs of shoulders standing at each. A little guy in a pinstriped gray was figuring the size of the wallets going in. Louis Desmond's office showed at the top of the stairway, and I moved for it. But a muscle looking down on 6 feet was playing frontman. He put a knotted hand on my arm, and when he spoke, it sounded like a gear factory doing double time.
Slow down, Pilgrim. The room you're looking for is the other way.
Yeah, well, this one says office.
That's the trouble with you guys who read. Can't take hints.
Spell it out.
Peter.
Not until I see Louis Desmond.
What's your business?
I'll tell it to him.
You owe him some dough?
No, I don't.
Then he ain't interested.
He will be.
Listen, Junior.
Come on, get him off of me, punk.
What's all the noise, Patsy?
Sightseer without a ticket.
My name's Regan.
Cop?
Maybe.
You want me to bounce him down the stairs, boss?
Maybe. What do you want?
Talk.
That's always a waste of time.
Not if it's about Georgia Bascom.
Come on in. Never saw you around here before, Regan.
No, I can't afford it.
Oh, don't say that. Some people go out of here with more than they come in with.
Yeah, you.
Guess you're right at that. Cigar?
No, thanks.
Well, what about Georgia, Regan?
You tell me.
That doesn't add. You came to see me.
She's got a worried mother.
They're all like that.
Now, this one figures you're doing a little forcing.
Oh.
You'd know more about that.
Give me a clue.
Blackmail, maybe?
You're a kick. Arthur Godfrey'd love to get a hold of you.
I come too high.
Let me give you some good advice. Go home and pull a blanket over your head and say it's all a bad dream.
You know, you talk a lot, mister, but you don't say much. What's the hold on Georgia?
All right, wise guy. Honey. Come over here, baby. Regan, you know this girl?
I've seen a picture.
Georgia, this is a peeper named Regan. He come to rescue you.
But what for, Mr. Regan?
$50.
My mother gave you that to come and take me back?
Something like that.
And I can't go.
Why not?
Well,
Go ahead. Show him, baby.
look, Regan. 3 carats.
With a wedding band to match.
On what dice table did you pick those up?
Stop the noise, Regan. Congratulate the lady.
Not on a bad mistake.
Listen, Shamus.
Oh, never mind him, Louis. He doesn't matter.
When did the furs come?
Louis said soon. Tell Mama we're married and not to worry. We're going away for a few days.
Ensenada for some gambling and fishing.
You won't enjoy it.
Sure I will. You'll be in L.A.
The alley behind the Five Aces Club hadn't been dusted in a week. My brown flannel suit fixed that. Well, I picked myself up and made it to the car. Moving north on Vermont, I tried to add a couple of things. There was a funny smell in Louis's office when I first walked in, like rope on fire. Somebody'd been there before me who smoked Q-Babs. Desmond worked on cigars. Georgia held a king-size Pall Mall. Well, whoever it was still played it coy. About 1 o'clock, I started raising a small campaign with the Lion's door knocker. His dream must have been a real good one because it took him 10 minutes to get to the door. He was wearing a nightgown, and he looked like a poor imitation of the Fisk tire ad. All that was missing was the candle.
Regan, I told you not to bother me until after 10 a.m.
It's no bother.
Get out of here, let a man sleep.
Your dreams will be bad.
What do you mean?
You just lost a client.
What's the matter? The money phony?
Georgia Bascom married Desmond. There's nothing I can do about it.
Well, think of something. Say you married her first.
You're out of your mind.
So it's a bad idea. Get a good
Yeah, I already have.
What is it?
You give Mrs. Bascom her case back.
Well, you can't do that.
Try me.
Think a minute, Regan. She's come to us for help. A lonely woman with no place to turn entrusts her trouble to International.
You got that 50 spent?
It's not the money. It's the moral obligation.
Oh, stop it, will you? You don't give blood anymore since you found out somebody'd pay for it.
You're getting on a line.
You're the only guy in town who can turn a shaving cut into a bankroll.
That's enough. Well, let's do it this way. You go over to Mrs. Bascom and give her the lowdown. Let her decide if she wants you to carry on or not.
You sure go to a lot of trouble for a 50.
I need a lot of new stuff around the place.
Well, it's close to Christmas, right to Santa Claus. Well, I left the Lion looking for a fountain pen, and I drove out to Venice Boulevard and the Pierpont Hotel. The place still looked the same. A black Nash was parked up the block, the motor going. A couple of cats were doing a duet on a garbage can. I climbed the stairs to the second floor, and I started down the hall for 210, walking real easy to keep the boards from creaking, but somebody else didn't care about the noise. There was a gun with a silencer working in Mrs. Bascom's room. I pushed the door in, but by then all I could hear was silence. The light showed an open window by the fire escape, and the wind was blowing the curtains. Mrs. Bascom lay face down on the bed, real still, and the holes in her blanket were turning wet. The Lion really lost a client that time. Well, it didn't take Sanducci and the boys long to get there. The fingerprint men and the photographers went to work in the room. Sanducci picked me. He had a grouch on like a fat lady in an upper berth.
What's the matter, Regan? You get lost?
What do you mean?
You're pretty far from home.
How'll I get around?
Who is she?
Name's Eleanor Bascom.
I know that. What'd she do? Where'd she come from?
I don't know.
What were you doing out here?
She called in the Lion. Her daughter ran off with Louis Desmond.
Oh, he in it? How far?
Ask him.
Mrs. Bascom wants you to bring her daughter back.
She wanted to know if the girl was moving into a racket.
Was she?
I haven't found out.
I should have known better than to ask a detective. Why didn't she call us?
She was behind on her taxes.
What do you do, Private? Sit up nights figuring ways to make my job harder?
You through with me?
No. Who killed her, Regan?
I don't know.
Bad choice of words.
Go check a black Nash parked up the street.
Got a license number?
No, I haven't.
Thanks a lot.
Look, I'm no medium. I didn't know she was marked.
Any other big ideas?
A few.
Well, keep them to yourself. They're all wrong. Now get out of here.
Yeah. Say, Sanducci.
Yeah?
The Lion can handle another client now.
So what?
Want to sign up? Well, I went home and slept. Coffee and warmed-over biscuits at the drugstore took care of breakfast the next morning. Then I checked the phone book. Louis Desmond's home address turned up on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and so I drove out there. It was on a corner. 2-story colonial place with white colors and green shutters. The doorbell sounded like a second chorus of the Hollywood Bowl. The Japanese maid let me in, and I waited in the anteroom. That's when I caught that peculiar smell again. Somebody had just been there who smoked those KIBM cigarettes. Well, a couple of minutes later, a tall blonde fighting 30 stepped up to me. She smelled like she just crawled out of a bottle of Platine. It was a bright morning, but she had the kind of look that had you wishing for an eclipse.
Well, what do you want?
Louis Desmond.
Census taker?
No.
What's he done?
I don't know yet. Where is he?
I don't know where he is. He didn't come home last night.
Lots of work at the office?
Card room out in Gardena.
Lots of work out there?
He didn't say. He doesn't tell me everything.
Should he?
Depends on what you think of your marriage vows.
Who are you?
His wife. Want a drink, mister?
Sure.
What'll it be?
Yours?
Bourbon. You pour. I don't know when to stop.
All right. Here you go.
To marriage. It's a mess.
Cigarette?
Never touch him. Interferes with my drinking.
Who smokes the Q-Bebs?
Is that what that stuff is?
Yeah.
The little guy walked in here looking for Louis and smelled up the place.
Hiya, Stella.
Oh, hello, Patsy. Just in time for a drink.
Company?
Yeah. What's your name, fella?
He knows.
You learn hard, don't you, Regan?
What's going on?
He's an eye.
So what?
So he gets a bounce.
He's my friend.
Beat it, Seamus, or I'll split you.
Stay right where you are. This is my house, and I'll entertain who I want.
With the boss's liquor?
I've got some rights.
Well, figure out what they are and try 'em on the boss.
I don't like you, Patsy.
Beat it, Peeper.
Get your paws off of me. Come on, get him off.
Stop it, Patsy. Stop it, I said.
Well, you hit him pretty hard, lady.
No, I didn't. His head's soft.
Well, I left her picking up pieces of glass, and I drove back toward Hollywood. I was moving east on Sunset, trying to make some sense out of Desmond's domestic life, when I spotted that black sedan again. It was doing a real bad tag job on me. I pushed the pedal closer to the floor, but the sedan had better gas. It caught me going around a bend past Beverly Glen and started pushing me. So it was a great place for a boulevard stop, but none showed. All it did was a reflection in my rearview mirror of the driver in the black sedan. It was feminine, and the voice spelled out Georgia Bascom. That's when she moved in for a closer look.
You are listening to the story of the gambler and his lady, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Listen, this is good news. Good news for you if you're between the ages of 20 and 26 and a half, married or single, a high school graduate, and want to fly for the United States Air Force. Yes, the Air Force Aviation Cadet Program is offering you the opportunity to become a pilot officer in the mightiest Air Force in history. You can be one of the Air Force's men of renown. And there's more offered than the pride you feel in being a member of America's flying team. For after your 52 weeks of training, you'll graduate as a second lieutenant in the Air Force with an income of more than $300 per month. Remember, the Air Force offers you what it offered General Jimmy Doolittle, General Carl Spaatz, and General Hoyt Vandenberg, now at 42, the Air Force Chief of Staff. Call at your local Army and Air Force recruiting station tomorrow. Apply to become an aviation cadet. And now, back to the story of the gambler and his ladies and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, things were moving as fast as the last reel in a Western movie. The Lion sent me out to see a lady who was having daughter trouble. Georgia Bascom had done a tie-in with a gambler named Louis Desmond, only it looked real permanent. She was wearing his wedding ring, and the mother ended up carrying a couple of bullets, and homicide moved in. That's when I met a blonde at Desmond's house who said she was Louis's wife. Well, I was working on the mess when a black sedan with Georgia at the wheel ran me off the road, and the slugs began to fly. I peeled myself off the side of the hill, and I got in touch with the police. Sanducci took over and invited me to headquarters for some more talk. He put me in a little room with pale green walls and sat behind a big desk chewing a dead cigar. He was taking me all in like a Hoover vacuum cleaner on a dirty rug.
Well, how do you feel, Regan?
All right.
You shouldn't.
Why not?
Looks to me like from here on in you're a marked man.
I'll get along.
It'll be real interesting to see how.
All right, now look, have you got something to say?
Maybe.
Well, let's hear it.
Relax, Regan. You're not going anyplace.
You can't hold me. I was the one who got shot at.
Well, that's enough. I'll work out a way to hold you for creating a disturbance.
It won't work.
Listen, you. The bullets we pulled out of your upholstery match the ones in Mrs. Bascom's.
So what?
So we figure she was knocked off because she knew something somebody didn't once said. We also figure that applies to you.
Yeah, well, that gets you nothing.
All right, Regan. Play it your way this time. You'll come running back when the heaters close in.
Don't make book on it.
Well, if you got to get yourself knocked off, don't mess up our city street.
Yeah, I'll be real careful.
Oh, and wear a dark suit that save our morticians a little trouble.
That all?
Yeah, go on, beat it, shooter. Oh, Regan.
Yeah.
Que buffy de tu padre.
What's that mean?
Your father's mustache.
Well, it was late afternoon by the time I walked out of headquarters. The sun was still working, but it was cold. The cab driver, with a lot of conversation, drove me to my place over on Taft. When I opened my front door, I smelled it again, those cubebs. A small face was sitting on my sofa sucking on them. It belonged to a guy who had to stand on a box to see over a fox terrier. When I shut the door behind me, he ground the cigarette into an ashtray and turned on a nervous look like a pig in a football factory.
Your landlady let me in, Mr. Regan. I hope you don't mind. I have to talk to you.
We met before.
We did? I don't remember.
Just me and your cigarettes.
Huh? Oh, you mind if I smoke?
You just finished one.
Oh, yes, so I did. May I have a drink then? Just a small one.
All right.
Thank you. I generally don't drink, but tonight Thank you. Now, I barely know where to begin.
Well, you better figure it out. You haven't got much time.
Yes. Well...
Start with a name.
Is that necessary?
Yeah, it is.
Loper, Max Loper. I'm a businessman.
What kind?
What kind? Furrier. Yeah, I'm a furrier, Mr. Regan. All sorts of furs, ermines, nice. Generally, I prefer sable, but it depends on the woman, you know.
What does Georgia get?
Beg pardon?
Let it go.
I'm not the man I used to be, Mr. Regan. My fortunes have changed. Yeah, it changed. I think I better have that cigarette.
Save it for later and start making sense.
Well, I need help.
Why come to me?
Well, Mrs. Bascom thought enough of you to ask you to help her. You see, I know Mrs. Bascom. That is, I knew Mrs. Bascom. Her death was so sudden.
It was forced.
Yeah, so the papers say, but... Mr. Regan, I want you to know I didn't do it.
Who said you did?
Well, nobody yet, but I didn't do it.
Look, why tell me?
There's nobody else I can tell.
Try the police.
No, that's what I can't do. I want you to prove to them that I wouldn't do a thing like that.
Loper, what's your tie-in with Desmond?
Desmond? Why? There is no tie-in.
You were at his card room. I smelled your cigarettes there. You got nothing, I guess, and you went to his house.
Mr. Regan, that's got nothing to do with it.
I think different.
But you're wrong, all wrong.
Convince me.
I didn't do the murder. That's what I want you to tell the police.
Who did?
I don't know.
Well, now I think you do. Come on. Who killed George's mother?
It was her stepmother who was killed.
Give me some more.
Oh, you got me all confused. I guess coming to you for help was a bad idea.
Something was.
I'll find somebody else who doesn't ask so many questions. I better go.
No, not yet, little man. You got too many answers.
Take your hands off me. Mr. Regan, I never used one of these, but the theory is simple. Just pull the trigger.
If you can find it.
Don't urge me. Open the door. Go on.
Sure.
Now step away. See you later, Mr. Regan.
Hey, look. He made it to the staircase, and then the noise came. A couple of bullets flew up the spiral and caught him in the chest. He stopped in midair for a second like a yo-yo on a string, and then he toppled over and rolled down. By the time I got to him, he was all used up. Well, a call into homicide brought some of the boys out, and they took care of him. A fat guy with a head like a plunger took some pictures for a paper, and a girl with a leaky fountain pen got the story. It took about an hour and a half to clear my place. But the minute the crowd moved out, the lion moved in. He had a sheet of paper in one hand, and his face was lit up like an old maid at a cocktail party.
This concerns Louis Desmond and Georgia Bascom. You interested?
Yeah?
Desmond's got a wife, and her name's not Georgia.
No, it's Stella, and she's a ripe candidate for a drunk tank.
What else do you know about her?
She's jealous.
Well, there's no record any place of a divorce or of a marriage between Georgia and Desmond. That whole setup's a phony.
Tell me why.
Georgia's father, named Peter Bascom, was a furrier. And he was once in on a fur job with the same Louis Desmond.
Go on.
The old Bascom ended up with a bullet in him, and Louis with a pile of dough.
How did it work?
I can't find out everything. You got to do something.
You know a Max Loper?
Never heard of him.
You got an address on this Georgia?
The Arena Hotel, room 406, on Catalina, off Wilshire.
All right.
The way I figured, an insurance company might be real interested to get hold of her.
No, the gas chamber's got priority.
We figured to swindle first, collect the fat bonus, then let the city handle her any way it wants. Call me when you get it all sewed up.
What are you going to be doing?
Resting at home. I'm all worn out.
Yeah, well, that figures. You've been doing a little thinking. The Lorena Hotel, 6 stories of plush carpet and gold paint. It was night when I got there, and the neon was on. The buzzer brought the door open, and Georgia Bascom stood there carrying an overcoat. She had her purse under her arm, and it figured she was leaving. When she saw me, she turned on a surprised look.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
Moving out?
Just a little errand.
It'll keep. Shut the door.
Now, see here. Well, that's a lot of nerve.
Don't let it bother you. There are bigger things.
Like what?
A fur job you and Louie are working on.
What are you talking about?
And a little murder. Throw your purse on the sofa.
I will not.
Come on, lady. It's getting heavy. Now open the closet door. Come on.
There. I hope you're satisfied.
I'm not much on fashions. Read them to me.
3 ermine, 3 sable.
10,000 apiece.
More.
Max Lopers.
Yeah.
Well, you can't wear them all. You got a friend?
I don't need one.
All right, sis. What is it?
Nothing.
That's your version.
You could be wrong.
When'd you marry Desmond?
Last week.
Bad answer. He's got a wife named Stella. Bigamy will get him in trouble.
Well, that's his problem.
No, it's yours, too, if the courts can prove you knew.
All right, I didn't marry him.
Then why the wedding ring?
Hey, you ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I do.
Why don't you get out of here?
Louie's not new on fur jobs. He knows how much work it is to palm him off.
You're talking to yourself.
Loper never got to outlive a double cross.
What are you going to do with that?
Nothing. Homicide will work it out.
I didn't kill anybody.
You'll work up a sweat proving it.
Louis did it, honest. He killed my stepmother because she knew how the job worked. He gave it to Loper, too. He would...
Hiya, friends.
It must be raining. The worms are coming to the top.
Hello, Louis. Regan's got it figured. I was just stalling him till you got here.
Sure, Georgia. I know.
Honest, Louis, honest. I didn't mean to say you did the knockoffs.
We'll talk about it later.
Better finish it now. You're not going to be around.
We'll see.
They got a spot all staked out for you up north.
Isn't that interesting? Regan, I got a set of instructions for you. I want you to be real nice and follow them.
What's in it for me?
You kill me, Seamus. I'm holding all the cards. You want to rake in the pot.
I better get going, Louis. We shouldn't be seen together right now.
Slow down, baby. I got something for you, too.
Louis,
Big mouth. Big mouth.
Look, you didn't have to hit her more than once.
She got off easy. Everybody's got 32 teeth.
Desmond moved us out of the apartment and down the hall. Georgia was beginning to sob, but Desmond wasn't impressed. He held the gun under his coat and walked behind us careful, like an elephant on the crate of eggs. The button brought the elevator, and the three of us went in, and then it started down. When the door swung open on the first floor, a whiff of bourbon came floating in, packing a .32. Louis turned white.
Stella.
I told him if he kept messing around, he was going to have trouble at home.
Want to give me the gun?
No. What's your name, girlie?
Georgia.
Were you in love with Louis?
I don't know.
Well, go find out. You want it now, Regan? It's empty.
You know, lady, you fixed nothing.
What do you mean?
Where you're going, you'll all be together again. Well, it was all over fast, like $1 dinner. The coroner's office sent out some boys for Georgia and Louis, and Sanducci picked up Stella. Desmond had himself a pretty good thing. Do a tie-in with a furrier and move the furs across the border with nobody making a fuss. Oh, it was slow work, but $10,000 a week's pretty good pay, and it was real safe. Loper wasn't going to say the furs were even stolen until they were turned into money. Of course, he never got to say it at all. Everything would have been all right if Stella didn't see green every time Louis saw blonde. Well, the insurance company thanked us for what we did to expose the fraud. The Lion was unhappy. He said they should have shown their gratitude with something more lasting. They gave it to him, a 1949 pocket calendar.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman, produced by Sterling Tracy. Included in tonight's cast were Mary Lansing, Marvin Miller, Pat McGeehan, Lorette Philbrandt, Jack Petruzzi, Yvonne Pathy, and Sidney Miller. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A socially prominent citizen is plotting to kill his wife. He tells you his plans for the murder. He hires you to do the killing. Your job, stop him.
When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Fatima is the quality, king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
You'll find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 17th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 4:18 p.m. when we got to room 26, chief of detectives' office.
Come on in, man. Have a seat. Did you close the door, Friday?
Yep, sure.
Captain Steed, Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday. I'd like to have you meet Special Agent Ray Kimball, Public Utilities Commissioner.
Mr. Kimball. Mr. Kimball.
And his friend, Mr. Trudeau.
How do you do?
Mr. Trudeau.
Oh, I see.
Gentlemen, Mr. Kimball and Mr. Trudeau here have some important information to give us. Mr. Trudeau, would you like to repeat for these officers what you told us a few moments ago?
Yes, sir. Well, a friend of mine wants me to kill his wife for him. I'm convinced he means to go through with the thing.
Naturally, it goes without saying that Kimball here will back up the veracity of the story.
Well, Mr. Trudeau, who is your friend? How long have you known him?
His name's Charles Stone. Guess maybe you heard of him. Owns a string of warehouses around town. I used to work for him.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, the other day he called me and asked me if I was working. I told him no. Then he asked me to meet him in front of the public library. And that was last Saturday afternoon.
Did you meet him?
Yes, I did. And he took me to a bar in the neighborhood, started telling me all about his troubles at home.
Mm-hmm.
He said his wife was stepping out on him, running around with other men. Well, we had quite a few drinks, and I guess I thought that's what accounted for it.
What's that, Mr. Trudeau?
Well, he leaned toward me and he said, "Here's the dope. The wife and I haven't been getting along well at all for about a year. She's stepping out with some other guy on me, and to make a long story short, well, that's when he told me."
I see.
He said, "I want to lose her. What do you say?" Well, I told him I didn't quite get the drift of the thing, and then he said, "I want my wife killed. I'll pay you $1,000 for the job."
Mr. Trudeau, have you any idea why he contacted you on this thing?
Well, I don't know, other than the fact that I hadn't been able to work for some time. He knew I needed the money pretty badly. As soon as I was sure he wasn't kidding about the murder, I told Mr. Kimball here. He's an old friend of mine.
Yeah.
He said the only thing to do was to take it to the police.
Did this Mr. Stone make this proposition to you more than once?
Yes, he did. Kept reminding me how much I could use the $1,000. Well, all I could say was that I knew his wife too well. I couldn't do it.
What did Stone say to that, sir?
Said I had cold feet. Told me I was just like another man he'd lined up to kill his wife. Told me if I didn't want the job, he'd get someone else to do it.
Do you think he might go for a substitute, Mr. Trudeau, one of our men?
Well, I don't know, Chief. There's only one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, sir.
He wants his wife dead.
4:42 p.m. The meeting in the chief of detectives' office went on. A man by the name of Charles Stone wanted his wife murdered. He'd offered $1,000 for her death. He'd approached two men to do the job. Both had refused. From the information we'd received, we knew he wouldn't stop there. There are a lot of people who'd kill for $1,000. It was only a matter of time till he found one. The plan was formulated, and Ben and I were assigned to the case. 5 p.m. Together with Captain Steed and Mr. Trudeau, we left Thad Brown's office and went down the hall to homicide.
In your last meeting with Stone, Mr. Trudeau, you refused outright to have anything to do with this plan to have his wife murdered. Is that right?
That's right.
Did you leave any opening at all?
Well, just to get away from the guy, I told him if I heard of anybody that'd do the job, I'd let him know.
You think that maybe he'd listen to you if you went back and suggested somebody?
I don't know. He'd listen to me, but he's no dummy. You got to understand that. He's going to be careful.
Mm-hmm. Well, which one of you is going to play the killer?
I'd like to try, Skipper.
Who's going to fit the part best? Trudy here just told you that Charles Stone's no pushover.
I don't know, Captain. This officer here...
Me?
Yeah, no offense, but I'd sure peg you for a cop.
You would? Why's that?
Well, I don't know. You just look like one, I guess.
Well, Joe is a little closer to average height, weight.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Captain. He doesn't look like a cop.
All right. Now, Mr. Trudeau, you're willing to go along with us on this thing?
Certainly, Captain. Anything I can do. You just tell me what you want.
Well, just as soon as possible, we'd like to have you contact Mr. Stone. You'll know how to approach him so as not to make him suspicious.
Yes, I think I can do that.
Joe, how do you want to go about this?
Well, I better use some kind of an alias. Let's see, Matson, Joe Matson.
Mm-hmm. How about Kelly? Just plain Kelly?
That's fine with me.
Good. Now, how about your background? Better get that straight with Mr. Trudeau here.
Well, suppose I tell him I'm from Phoenix, huh? Mm-hmm. I know that town pretty well. He might ask me some questions about it.
Okay. Now, how'd you happen to know Trudeau, the Army?
Did you ever serve in the Army, Mr. Trudeau?
Yes, sir. 42 to 45. CBI theater.
All right. Well, we served together in the Army, huh? Let's make it in China. Mm-hmm. Quartermaster Corps, all right?
Mm-hmm. All right. And now, Mr. Trudeau, this is all you'll have to do. Set up a meeting with Stone as soon as possible. Introduce Friday as the man who's willing to do the job for him, an old Army friend. Then step out of the picture as quickly as you can.
All right, Captain. I understand.
It goes without saying we certainly appreciate your cooperation.
And not at all, sir. Only glad I'm in a position to help out.
We'll probably save that woman's life.
I wish I could be sure.
How do you mean, Trudeau?
The last time I saw Charlie Stone was 3 days ago.
Maybe he's hired somebody else.
5:30 p.m. Captain Steed ordered 2 teams of men from Homicide to watch Charles Stone's wife, Mildred, until further notice. For her own protection, she'd be kept under 24-hour surveillance without her knowledge. We checked the I Bureau to see what we could find on Charles Stone. He owned a gun, a .32 Smith & Wesson revolver. That's all we found. He had no criminal record. We knew of him only as a social figure from a prominent family, and supposedly he was happily married. He owned and operated a chain of 6 warehouses throughout Los Angeles. His business reputation was good. Captain Steed ordered that Charles Stone also be placed under 24-hour surveillance immediately. He would be kept under watch without his knowledge. Ben Romero and Gil Encinas were one of the teams assigned to tail him. The next morning, I checked in for work at the usual time. At 10:15 a.m., I left Captain Steed's office and went into the squad room. Homicide, Friday.
This is Mr. Trudeau, Sergeant. I saw Charlie Stone a few minutes ago.
Yes, sir. How'd it go?
We talked about 20 minutes. I told him you might be willing to do the job.
What'd he say?
He wants to meet you.
Before he hung up, Trudeau told me that Charles Stone would meet us that night in Section B in the grandstands at the midget auto races out near Santa Monica. I informed Captain Steed of the development, and then I left the office, went home, put away my gun and all my identification, changed into some old clothes. I boarded a bus and rode back downtown to the Skid Row area where I rented a single room in a cheap hotel. I signed the register J. Kelly, Phoenix, Arizona. 5:30 p.m. I went to Koken's Cafe on the corner of South Main and Satella Streets. Captain Steed was waiting for me in one of the rear booths.
Hi.
Hi.
You look like you're all set.
How's the outfit strike you okay?
You're fine. That old leather jacket's a good touch. Oh, better let your beard grow a little.
You all right? I rented a room in one of the hotels down here. I could use a little expense money.
Glad you said a little. All right, I'll fix it up for you.
Here's the phone number of the hotel in case you want to contact me.
Good.
There's one thing that's got me a little worried, Skipper.
Yeah?
The legal angle. You know, you can get pretty close to entrapment in cases like this.
Well, nothing to worry about. You just play it straight down the line.
Yeah?
The idea for the crime has to originate in the mind of the criminal. It's got to be all his idea. You just go along with him.
Okay.
Be sure and keep us posted.
Yes, I will.
Murder of his wife means a lot to Stone. He wouldn't want anybody getting in his way.
Yeah.
Be careful.
That night I had dinner with Trudeau at a cafeteria on South Grand, and then we caught a bus and rode out to the stadium where they held the midget auto races. We found the seats where Charles Stone was to meet us, numbers 4 and 5, row 27, Section B, main grandstand. The auto races started. At 10 minutes past 8 p.m., Charles Stone arrived. He looked like an average, prosperous businessman, well-dressed, medium build, dark hair that showed a few streaks of gray. Trudeau introduced us, and then he left.
Where are you from, Kelly?
Phoenix.
You like midget auto races?
That's not why I came out here. Trudeau said something about a job.
Sure. Guess he told you what it's about.
Yeah?
You ever handle anything like this before?
I'd be a sucker to answer that one, wouldn't I?
I just want to know if you could handle it.
Trudeau told me about it. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't handle it.
It's a delicate job. Got to be sure it's done right.
What are you looking for, references?
Got to be careful, that's all.
What about me? I don't know you from Adam. How do I know it won't be a double cross?
Don't worry about a double cross. Let's go below the grandstand. Get away from this crowd.
All right with me. You haven't said anything about money yet.
Plenty of time to talk money.
I'd like to know.
How much you want?
Trudeau said 1,000.
Yeah.
When could you get it?
When would you want it?
Before? I'd be a dope to do the job without getting paid first.
I'd be just as stupid to give it to you first. Say, can I buy you a hot dog, cold drink?
Okay.
Miss?
Yeah.
One hot dog, couple of root beers.
One dog, 2 beers.
You like root beer?
Sure. How about settling on the dough, huh?
You do the job, you'll get paid. You can ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you I keep my word.
Well, it's got to go fast, that's all. I may have a job lined up in Phoenix. I got to get that dough and some new clothes. Got to put up some kind of a front. That's why I need the dough fast, no waiting.
You'll get your money. We can work out something.
Hot dog, 2 root beers, 40. Mustard's on the counter.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
Just move over there out of the way.
Okay. But you haven't told me yet.
What?
How do you want it done?
All depends.
I haven't got my gun. I'm on the lam. Have you got one?
No, I don't own one. Couldn't use a gun anyway. Too much noise.
Well, make up your mind.
We'll meet tomorrow night. We can talk about it then.
Look, mister, you expect me to sit on this thing for a week? I'm not making a career out of just this one job.
What are you worrying about? We'll set everything up tomorrow night.
All right, how about $10 on the cuff? I got 11 flat.
There's 5. See if that'll do.
All right. Now, how about that payoff, the 1,000? How do we set that up?
We can talk about that later.
Why can't we talk now? Look, Stone, I don't think I like your attitude. You haven't told me how you want the job done. You talk cute every time the payoff's mentioned.
Take it easy,
Take
Kelly.
it easy, nothing. I'm taking the chances. How do I know I'm going to get paid?
How do I know you'll kill her?
Before I left Charles Stone, we set up a meeting for the following night at 8 o'clock. I caught a bus and went back to the hotel room. So far, I'd been unable to get any other corroborative evidence on Stone, evidence that could be presented in court. The next morning, I called the office and kept them posted on developments. I had my meals at a lunch counter next door to the hotel, and I stuck pretty close to my room. At 2:30 that afternoon, Ben called.
We tailed Stone to the midget auto races last night, Joe. Do any good?
Well, not bad. It's going a little slow, though.
We tailed him after he left you. We drove to a Beverly Hills address, apartment house.
Thought he lived in Glendale.
Does. The apartment he went to is registered to Jean Howard. Stayed till 4 this morning. Checked the Howard girl out. She's a secretary at one of Stone's warehouses.
Maybe that explains why Stone wants to get rid of his wife, huh?
Here's one more thing. We tailed him to a gun shop this morning. Bought a couple of things, and after he's gone, we checked with the store clerk. Told us Stone bought a box of shells, 32 caliber.
Same kind of gun he had registered in it, 32 S&W?
Yeah.
That's funny. Stone told me he doesn't own a gun.
Doesn't look too good in my book.
All right, now let's don't start worrying, huh?
Don't trust him a dime's worth, Joe, that's all.
All right. You want to check with me later on? I've got to keep this line open.
Yeah, all right. See you later.
Right. Yeah.
This is Stone.
Yeah.
Job's all set up, ready to go.
When?
Tomorrow night.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of New York cover girl Rita Daigle. This is her actual signed statement.
I find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality, and they're extra mild.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy king-size Fatima yourself.
You will find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes.
They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima the difference is quality.
Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Wednesday, February 19th, 8:55 p.m. Charles Stone picked me up in his car at the corner of Alameda and 6th Streets. He turned onto South Broadway and he headed down for the beach. He hunched over the wheel as he drove. I kept wondering how I was going to pin him down. We were less than 24 hours away from the scheduled murder of his wife, and I still didn't have a case against him that'd stand up in court. If he failed to produce sufficient evidence tonight, Stone had a good chance of going free, whether he succeeded in having his wife killed or not. I had no idea what plans the suspect had made before he hired me to do the killing. There was a definite possibility that he might have arranged for somebody else to commit the actual murder and then set up a double cross with me as the victim. We knew he had a .32 S&W revolver registered in his name, but he denied to me that he even owned a gun. 9:03 p.m., we pulled up in front of Stone's beach house.
Most of the other homes around here are vacant, summer places. People don't start moving in till 1st of May.
But you said you were afraid of the neighbors seeing you here.
There's some living up the next block.
Oh.
Can't afford not to be careful. This one here. There's the front door key. See if you can work it.
I know how it works. You go ahead and open it.
All right.
The living room, huh?
Yeah, bedroom's over here through this door.
All right, what's the story? Where do I start?
My wife should be here about 6 o'clock tomorrow night. She'll be coming down alone to get the house ready for a weekend party.
When do you want me here?
About 4 in the afternoon. Here. Here's the key to the front door.
Better pick it up and hand it to me, huh?
Okay, here you go. First thing you do when you get here is pull out all the drawers in the bedroom bureau, scatter things around, make it look as much like a burglary as you can.
Yeah?
Same here in the living room. Desk drawer, table, cupboards. Turn them inside out, throw things around.
Leave my fingerprints all over everything?
I've taken care of that. Old pair of gloves of mine. You'll find them here in this drawer, remember that.
All right.
Let's see now, Oh, yeah, sash cord. I'm sure this ought to serve the purpose. Shouldn't have any trouble.
Yeah. Piece of rope's pretty new. It's a little slippery.
Won't be with the gloves on. She's not very strong. Shouldn't have any trouble. I'll leave the rope here in the closet.
You sure she's going to be alone?
Positive.
Where am I supposed to hide?
Let me show you. Here. Right by the front door. This closet.
Yeah.
When my wife comes in, closes the door, she'll probably go right to the bedroom and take off her coat. Follow her in, then do it fast while her back's turned. No screams. Neighbors might hear.
All right.
Want it clean and quiet. Do it as quickly as you can. Now, when you're finished, here's what I want you to do with her.
What's that?
Take the body and bring it this way. Come here. Here, I want you to see.
All right.
Across the living room to these French doors. Open this one. You won't have any trouble. Take the body out here on the porch. Come with me now. I want you to get this clear in your mind.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Take her down to this end of the porch. Right to the railing. Leave her here. It's very important. You understand? All the way down to the end of the porch here.
I don't get it, but I guess it's all right.
All right, let's go back in.
Look, Stone, I may forget the layout of this house here. Could you draw a floor plan for me? I don't want to get mixed up here.
No, there's paper on the desk there. You can draw it yourself before you leave tonight.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Can't afford to take any chances. Now, what was it? Yeah. After you're finished, using the rope, I mean.
Yeah.
You'll find some rings on my wife's fingers. Take them all off. Big setting especially. There'll be a bracelet on her left wrist. Take that, too.
What'll I do with them?
Put them in this white vase in the mantel here. The rings and the bracelet. Don't miss any of the rings. They're expensive.
Well, how about me bringing them to you? I can pick up my dough at the same time.
No, put them in the vase. As soon as that's done, leave here and go back downtown. I'll pick you up where we met tonight, 6 in Alameda, 7:30 sharp. I have the money for you then.
Where are you going to be at 6 o'clock?
I have to cover myself. I'll stay on at the office. Special conference.
I don't know. I don't think I like this.
What do you mean you don't like it?
Suppose something should happen. I got no protection. I'd feel a lot better with a gun.
I told you I don't have a gun to give you. Why would you need one anyway?
Just feel a lot better, that's all.
Buy one if you want. That's your problem. I'm paying you for the job.
I haven't seen your money.
I told you, when the job's done, you get your money then.
There's just one thing I want to make sure of. No mistakes here.
Don't worry, you get your pay. Ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you can trust him. You can ask anybody.
How about your wife? Before I left Charles Stone, I got one more valuable piece of evidence out of him, a special phone number written in his handwriting on the back of one of his business cards. In case anything went wrong, I was to call him at this number. In his own handwriting, I also got a list of times that I was supposed to remember. When to come to the house, when to leave, when to meet him for the payoff. The next afternoon at 3:30, I left the hotel and drove my car out to Venice to Stone's beach house. Captain Steed and another officer from Homicide followed me out. We waited in the house together. Shortly before 6 p.m., Mrs. Mildred Stone arrived with Bill, Ben, and Gil and Cenas. She refused to believe the story of her husband's plot to have her murdered. Captain Steed laid out the evidence for her.
This key, Mrs. Stone, you recognize it?
Why, yes, it's the one for the front door. It must be Charles.
He gave it to this officer, Mrs. Stone, the man who was supposed to murder you.
No, I don't believe it.
Do you have any idea what's in that closet, ma'am, that one over there?
There's nothing in there. I cleaned it out the last time we were here. I cleaned out all the closets.
I'd like to show it to you, ma'am.
Piece of rope? I never saw that there before.
Mr. Stone gave it to me. It was supposed to be the murder weapon.
Just one more point, ma'am. Over here, please. Do you know what's in this drawer here?
It's empty. It has to be. We never keep anything in there. Only when we move down for the summer months.
Joe?
Right. Pair of your husband's old gloves. Is that right, ma'am?
Well, why would they be there? What for?
I was supposed to wear them while I was in the house so I wouldn't leave fingerprints.
Do you mind if I sit down?
Here you are.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stone. We know it's a terrible shock for you. I think you realize we had to tell you.
It's all right. You've been very kind. You saved my life. I'm sorry now that happened. It would have been better if he'd succeeded. Much better.
Take it easy, Mrs. Stone.
The shame. Terrible, terrible shame. Is there anything I can do for him?
He wanted to have you murdered, ma'am.
I know that. He wanted me dead.
Yes, ma'am.
There's only one thing.
Yeah?
He's my husband, Sergeant. I love him.
6:45 p.m. I telephoned Charles Stone and told him the job was done. His wife was murdered. He said he'd meet me at 6th and Alameda Streets for the payoff as scheduled. I waited. He failed to show up. At 7:30 p.m., Stone was placed under arrest as he parked his car in front of their Venice beach house. A loaded .32 caliber revolver was found in his pocket. He was taken back to the city hall, the chief of detective's office. Ben and I waited outside the open door. We could hear Thad Brown start the interrogation inside.
Do you know what we have you down here for, Mr. Stone?
No, I haven't the faintest idea.
What would you say if I told you your wife had been murdered?
I think you were crazy.
What would you say if I told you that you're accused of her murder?
It's silly. It's ridiculous. I've been at work all day. I can prove it.
All right, Friday, come in.
Yes, sir.
You ever meet this man before?
I've seen him on Skid Row. I don't know him.
Do you recognize the man you hired to kill your wife?
I don't know the man. I didn't kill my wife. I don't understand all this.
The name's Kelly, Mr. Stone.
He's some fake officer. He's a Skid Row bum. I don't know him.
I don't think that's going to make it, Stone. Both you and your wife have been tailed constantly for the last couple of days. Photographs taken. Midget auto races. 6th on Alameda. Beverly Hills apartment.
Crazy. You don't know what you're talking about.
Mike, would you send the lady in, please?
Mildred, you don't believe all these things you're saying about me, do you?
Here are the rings, Charles. The bracelet, too. I didn't realize how much you wanted them.
Molly, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I was thinking of.
There, Charles. There, it's all right now. You'll feel better in a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am. That's all, Friday.
Right.
What's it look like, Joe?
He's starting to talk.
It's got me. He tries to have her murdered. She goes to bat for him.
What's it prove?
He sure must love him. What do you think?
How about a cup of coffee?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To the working detective, the difference between guilt and innocence is proof, in the form of physical evidence, in the form of testimony gathered from reliable witnesses. In determining any suspect's guilt or innocence, the difference is actual proof. Now, when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality, and Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. You'll find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Charles Farnsworth Stone was tried and convicted on soliciting the commission of a felony, 2 counts. He received a sentence as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Hi, folks. This is Bob on the air for Chesterfield. Every Tuesday night, consult your local paper for time and station Hope.
And Bing, on the air for Chesterfield every Wednesday night, Crosby. I've called this little seminar to teach our new boy the ropes.
Say, Sag, I think it's only fair to warn you, with me selling Chesterfield this year, you'll have to limp along lively to keep up.
Oh, say, since when have you been any competition, lover boy? When we're in pitches together, who always gets the girl?
Which only backs up the old saying, everybody loves a fat man.
Seriously, friends, Skinflint and I, we do agree 100% on this. Chesterfields are milder.
And they leave no unpleasant aftertaste. So always buy our cigarette, Chesterfield.
The best cigarette for you to smoke.
Hear Hope and Crosby Tuesday. Next, We the People on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A socially prominent citizen is plotting to kill his wife. He tells you his plans for the murder. He hires you to do the killing. Your job, stop him.
When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Fatima is the quality, king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
You'll find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 17th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 4:18 p.m. when we got to room 26, chief of detectives' office.
Come on in, man. Have a seat. Did you close the door, Friday?
Yep, sure.
Captain Steed, Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday. I'd like to have you meet Special Agent Ray Kimball, Public Utilities Commissioner.
Mr. Kimball. Mr. Kimball.
And his friend, Mr. Trudeau.
How do you do?
Mr. Trudeau.
How are you, sir?
Gentlemen, Mr. Kimball and Mr. Trudeau here have some important information to give us. Mr. Trudeau, would you like to repeat for these officers what you told us a few moments ago?
Yes, sir. Well, a friend of mine wants me to kill his wife for him. I'm convinced he means to go through with the thing.
Naturally, it goes without saying that Kimball here will back up the veracity of the story.
Well, Mr. Trudeau, who is your friend? How long have you known him?
His name's Charles Stone. Guess maybe you heard of him. Owns a string of warehouses around town. I used to work for him.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, the other day he called me and asked me if I was working. I told him no. Then he asked me to meet him in front of the public library. And that was last Saturday afternoon.
Did you meet him?
Yes, I did. And he took me to a bar in the neighborhood, started telling me all about his troubles at home.
Mm-hmm.
He said his wife was stepping out on him, running around with other men. Well, we had quite a few drinks, and I guess I thought that's what accounted for it.
What's that, Mr. Trudeau?
Well, he leaned toward me and he said, "Here's the dope. The wife and I haven't been getting along well at all for about a year. She's stepping out with some other guy on me, and to make a long story short, well, that's when he told me."
I see.
He said, "I want to lose her. What do you say?" Well, I told him I didn't quite get the drift of the thing, and then he said, "I want my wife killed. I'll pay you $1,000 for the job."
Mr. Trudeau, have you any idea why he contacted you on this thing?
Well, I don't know, other than the fact that I hadn't been able to work for some time. He knew I needed the money pretty badly. As soon as I was sure he wasn't kidding about the murder, I told Mr. Kimball here. He's an old friend of mine.
Yeah.
He said the only thing to do was to take it to the police.
Did this Mr. Stone make this proposition to you more than once?
Yes, he did. Kept reminding me how much I could use the $1,000. Well, all I could say was that I knew his wife too well. I couldn't do it.
What did Stone say to that, sir?
Said I had cold feet. Told me I was just like another man he'd lined up to kill his wife. Told me if I didn't want the job, he'd get someone else to do it.
Do you think he might go for a substitute, Mr. Trudeau, one of our men?
Well, I don't know, Chief. There's only one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, sir.
He wants his wife dead.
4:42 p.m. The meeting in the chief of detectives' office went on. A man by the name of Charles Stone wanted his wife murdered. He'd offered $1,000 for her death. He'd approached two men to do the job. Both had refused. From the information we'd received, we knew he wouldn't stop there. There are a lot of people who'd kill for $1,000. It was only a matter of time till he found one. A plan was formulated, and Ben and I were assigned to the case. 5 p.m. Together with Captain Steed and Mr. Trudeau, we left Thad Brown's office and went down the hall to homicide.
In your last meeting with Stone, Mr. Trudeau, you refused outright to have anything to do with this plan to have his wife murdered. Is that right?
That's right.
Did you leave any opening at all?
Well, just to get away from the guy, I told him if I heard of anybody that'd do the job, I'd let him know.
You think that maybe he'd listen to you if you went back and suggested somebody?
I don't know. He'd listen to me, but he's no dummy. You got to understand that. He's going to be careful.
Well, which one of you is going to play the killer?
I'd like to try it, Skipper.
Who's going to fit the part best? Trudy here just told you that Charles Stone's no pushover.
I don't know, Captain. This officer here...
Me?
Yeah, no offense, but I'd sure peg you for a cop.
You would? Why's that?
Well, I don't know. You just look like one, I guess.
Well, Joe is a little closer to average height, weight.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Captain. He doesn't look like a cop.
All right. Now, Mr. Trudeau, you're willing to go along with us on this thing?
Certainly, Captain. Anything I can do. You just tell me what you want.
Well, just as soon as possible, we'd like to have you contact Mr. Stone. You'll know how to approach him so as not to make him suspicious.
Yes, I think I can do that.
Joe, how do you want to go about this?
Well, I better use some kind of an alias. Let's see, Matson. Joe Matson.
Mm-hmm.
How about Kelly? Just plain Kelly?
That's fine with me.
Good. Now, how about your background? Better get that straight with Mr. Trudeau here.
Well, suppose I tell him I'm from Phoenix, huh? Mm-hmm. I know that town pretty well. He might ask me some questions about it.
Okay. Now, how'd you happen to know Trudeau, the Army?
Did you ever serve in the Army, Mr. Trudeau?
Yes, sir. 42 to 45. CBI fitter.
All right. Well, we served together in the Army, huh? Let's make it in China. Mm-hmm. Quartermaster Corps, all right?
Mm-hmm. All right. And now, Mr. Trudeau, this is all you'll have to do. Set up a meeting with Stone as soon as possible. Introduce Friday as the man who's willing to do the job for him, an old Army friend. Then step out of the picture as quickly as you can.
All right, Captain. I understand.
It goes without saying, we certainly appreciate your cooperation.
And not at all, sir. Only glad I'm in a position to help out.
We'll probably save that woman's life.
I wish I could be sure.
How do you mean, Trudeau?
The last time I saw Charlie Stone was 3 days ago.
Maybe he's hired somebody else.
5:30 p.m. Captain Steed ordered 2 teams of men from Homicide to watch Charles Stone's wife, Mildred, until further notice. For her own protection, she'd be kept under 24-hour surveillance without her knowledge. We checked the I Bureau to see what we could find on Charles Stone. He owned a gun, a .32 Smith & Wesson revolver. That's all we found. He had no criminal record. We knew of him only as a social figure from a prominent family, and supposedly he was happily married. He owned and operated a chain of 6 warehouses throughout Los Angeles. His business reputation was good. Captain Steed ordered that Charles Stone also be placed under 24-hour surveillance immediately. He would be kept under watch without his knowledge. Ben Romero and Gil Encinas were one of the teams assigned to tail him. The next morning, I checked in for work at the usual time. At 10:15 a.m., I left Captain Steed's office and went into the squad room. Homicide, Friday.
This is Mr. Trudeau, Sergeant. I saw Charlie Stone a few minutes ago.
Yes, sir. How'd it go?
We talked about 20 minutes. I told him you might be willing to do the job.
What'd he say?
He wants to meet you.
Before he hung up, Trudeau told me that Charles Stone would meet us that night in Section B in the grandstands at the midget auto races out near Santa Monica. I informed Captain Steed of the development, and then I left the office, went home, put away my gun and all my identification, changed into some old clothes. I boarded a bus and rode back downtown to the Skid Row area, where I rented a single room in a cheap hotel. I signed the register J. Kelly, Phoenix, Arizona. 5:30 p.m. I went to Coken's Cafe on the corner of South Main and Satella Streets. Captain Steed was waiting for me in one of the rear booths.
Hi.
Hi.
You look like you're all set.
How's the outfit strike you okay?
You're fine. That old leather jacket's a good touch. Oh, better let your beard grow a little.
You all right? I rented a room in one of the hotels down here. I could use a little expense money.
Glad you said a little. All right, I'll fix it up for you.
Here's the phone number of the hotel in case you want to contact me.
Good.
There's one thing that's got me a little worried, Skipper.
Yeah?
The legal angle. You know, you can get pretty close to entrapment in cases like this.
Well, nothing to worry about. You just play it straight down the line.
Yeah?
The idea for the crime has to originate in the mind of the criminal. It's got to be all his idea. You just go along with him.
Okay.
Be sure and keep us posted.
Yes, I will.
Murder of his wife means a lot to Stone. He wouldn't want anybody getting in his way.
Yeah.
Be careful.
That night I had dinner with Trudeau at a cafeteria on South Grand, and then we caught a bus and rode out to the stadium where they held the midget auto races. We found the seats where Charles Stone was to meet us, numbers 4 and 5, row 27, Section B, main grandstand. The auto races started. At 10 minutes past 8 p.m., Charles Stone arrived. He looked like an average, prosperous businessman, well-dressed, medium build, dark hair that showed a few streaks of gray. Trudeau introduced us, and then he left.
Where you from, Kelly?
Phoenix?
You like midget auto races?
That's not why I came out here. Trudeau said something about a job.
Sure. Guess he told you what it's about.
Yeah?
You ever handle anything like this before?
I'd be a sucker to answer that one, wouldn't I?
I just want to know if you could handle it.
Trudeau told me about it. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't handle it.
Delicate job. Gotta be sure it's done right.
What are you looking for, references?
Gotta be careful, that's all.
What about me? I don't know you from Adam. How do I know it won't be a double cross?
Don't worry about a double cross. Let's go below the grandstand. Get away from this crowd.
All right with me. You haven't said anything about money yet.
Plenty of time to talk money.
I'd like to know.
How much you want?
Trudeau said 1,000.
Yeah.
When could you get it?
When would you want it?
Before. I'd be a dope to do the job without getting paid first.
I'd be just as stupid to give it to you first. Say, can I buy you a hot dog, cold drink?
Okay.
Miss?
Yeah?
1 hot dog, couple of root beers.
1 dog, 2 beers.
You like root beer?
Sure. How about settling on the dough, huh?
You do the job, you'll get paid. You can ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you I keep my word.
Well, it's got to go fast, that's all. I may have a job lined up in Phoenix. I got to get that dough and some new clothes. Got to put up some kind of a front. That's why I need the dough fast, no waiting.
You'll get your money. We can work out something.
Hot dog, 2 liters, 40. Mustard's on the counter.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
Just move over there out of the way.
Okay. But you haven't told me yet.
What?
How do you want it done?
All depends.
I haven't got my gun. I'm on the lam. Have you got one?
No, I don't own one. Couldn't use a gun anyway. Too much noise.
Well, make up your mind.
We'll meet tomorrow night. We can talk about it then.
Look, mister, you expect me to sit on this thing for a week? I'm not making a career out of just this one job.
What are you worrying about? We'll set everything up tomorrow night.
All right, how about $10 on the cuff? I got 11 flat.
There's 5. See if that'll do.
All right. Now, how about that payoff, the 1,000? How do we set that up?
We can talk about that later.
Why can't we talk now? Look, Stone, I don't think I like your attitude. You haven't told me how you want the job done. You talk cute every time the payoff's mentioned.
Take it easy,
Take
Kelly.
it easy, nothing. I'm taking the chances. How do I know I'm going to get paid?
How do I know you'll kill her?
Before I left Charles Stone, we set up a meeting for the following night at 8 o'clock. I caught a bus and went back to the hotel room. So far, I'd been unable to get any other corroborative evidence on Stone, evidence that could be presented in court. The next morning, I called the office and kept them posted on developments. I had my meals at a lunch counter next door to the hotel, and I stuck pretty close to my room. At 2:30 that afternoon, Ben called.
We tailed Stone to the midget auto races last night, Joe. Do any good?
Well, not bad. It's going a little slow, though.
We tailed him after he left you. He drove to a Beverly Hills address, apartment house.
Thought he lived in Glendale.
He does. The apartment he went to is registered to Jean Howard. Stayed till 4 this morning. Checked the Howard girl out. She's a secretary at one of Stone's warehouses.
Maybe that explains why Stone wants to get rid of his wife, huh?
Here's one more thing. We tailed him to a gun shop this morning. Bought a couple of things, and after he's gone, we checked with the store clerk. Told us Stone bought a box of shells, 32 caliber.
Same kind of gun he had registered in it, 32 S&W?
Yeah.
That's funny. Stone told me he doesn't own a gun.
Doesn't look too good in my book.
All right, now let's don't start worrying, huh?
Don't trust him a dime's worth, Joe, that's all.
All right. You want to check with me later on? I got to keep this line open.
Yeah, all right. See you later.
Right. Yeah.
This is Stone.
Yeah.
Job's all set up, ready to go.
When?
Tomorrow night.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of New York cover girl Rita Daigle. This is her actual signed statement.
I find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality, and they're extra mild.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy king-size Fatima yourself.
You will find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes.
They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima the difference is quality.
Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Wednesday, February 19th, 8:55 p.m. Charles Stone picked me up in his car at the corner of Alameda and 6th Streets. He turned onto South Broadway and he headed down for the beach. He hunched over the wheel as he drove. I kept wondering how I was going to pin him down. We were less than 24 hours away from the scheduled murder of his wife, and I still didn't have a case against him that'd stand up in court. If he failed to produce sufficient evidence tonight, Stone had a good chance of going free, whether he succeeded in having his wife killed or not. I had no idea what plans the suspect had made before he hired me to do the killing. There was a definite possibility that he might have arranged for somebody else to commit the actual murder and then set up a double cross with me as the victim. We knew he had a .32 S&W revolver registered in his name, but he denied to me that he even owned a gun. 9:03 p.m., we pulled up in front of Stone's beach house.
Most of the other homes around here are vacant, summer places. People don't start moving in till 1st of May.
But you said you were afraid of the neighbors seeing you here.
There's some living up the next block.
Oh.
Can't afford not to be careful. This one here. There's the front door key. See if you can work it.
I know how it works. You go ahead and open it.
All right.
The living room, huh?
Yeah, bedroom's over here through this door.
All right, what's the story? Where do I start?
My wife should be here about 6 o'clock tomorrow night. She'll be coming down alone to get the house ready for a weekend party.
When do you want me here?
About 4 in the afternoon. Here. Here's the key to the front door.
Better pick it up and hand it to me, huh?
Okay, here you go. First thing you do when you get here is pull out all the drawers in the bedroom bureau, scatter things around, make it look as much like a burglary as you can.
Yeah?
Same here in the living room. Desk drawer, table, cupboards. Turn them inside out, throw things around.
Leave my fingerprints all over everything?
I've taken care of that. Old pair of gloves of mine. You'll find them here in this drawer, remember that.
All right.
Let's see now, Oh, yeah, sash cord. I'm sure this ought to serve the purpose. Shouldn't have any trouble.
Yeah. Piece of rope's pretty new. It's a little slippery.
Won't be with the gloves on. She's not very strong. Shouldn't have any trouble. I'll leave the rope here in the closet.
You sure she's going to be alone?
Positive.
Where am I supposed to hide?
Let me show you. Here. Right by the front door. This closet.
Yeah.
When my wife comes in, closes the door, she'll probably go right to the bedroom and take off her coat. Follow her in, then do it fast while her back's turned. No screams. Neighbors might hear.
All right.
Want it clean and quiet. Do it as quickly as you can. Now, when you're finished, here's what I want you to do with her.
What's that?
Take the body and bring it this way. Come here. Here, I want you to see.
All right.
That's the living room to these French doors. Open this one. You won't have any trouble. Take the body out here on the porch. Come with me now. I want you to get this clear in your mind.
Yeah, I think I've got it.
Take her down to this end of the porch. Right to the railing. Leave her here. It's very important. You understand? All the way down to the end of the porch here.
I don't get it, but I guess it's all right.
All right, let's go back in.
Look, Stone, I may forget the layout of this house here. Could you draw a floor plan for me? I don't want to get mixed up here.
No, there's paper on the desk there. You can draw it yourself before you leave tonight.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Can't afford to take any chances. Now, what was it? Yeah. After you're finished, using the rope, I mean.
Yeah.
You'll find some rings on my wife's fingers. Take them all off. Big setting especially. There'll be a bracelet on her left wrist. Take that, too.
What'll I do with them?
Put them in this white vase in the mantel here. The rings and the bracelet. Don't miss any of the rings. They're expensive.
Well, how about me bringing them to you? I can pick up my dough at the same time.
No, put them in the vase. As soon as that's done, leave here and go back downtown. I'll pick you up where we met tonight, 6th and Alameda, 7:30 sharp. Have the money for you then.
Where are you going to be at 6 o'clock?
I have to cover myself. I'll stay on at the office. Special conference.
I don't know. I don't think I like this.
What do you mean you don't like it?
Suppose something should happen. I got no protection. I'd feel a lot better with a gun.
I told you I don't have a gun to give you. Why would you need one anyway?
Just feel a lot better, that's all.
Buy one if you want. That's your problem. I'm paying you for the job.
I haven't seen your money.
I told you, when the job's done, you get your money then.
There's just one thing I want to make sure of. No mistakes here.
Don't worry, you get your pay. Ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you can trust him. You can ask anybody.
How about your wife? We Before I left Charles Stone, I got one more valuable piece of evidence out of him, a special phone number written in his handwriting on the back of one of his business cards. In case anything went wrong, I was to call him at this number. In his own handwriting, I also got a list of times that I was supposed to remember. When to come to the house, when to leave, when to meet him for the payoff. The next afternoon at 3:30, I left the hotel and drove my car out to Venice to Stone's beach house. Captain Steed and another officer from Homicide followed me out. We waited in the house together. Shortly before 6 p.m., Mrs. Mildred Stone arrived with Biff, Ben, and Gil and seen us. She refused to believe the story of her husband's plot to have her murdered. Captain Steed laid out the evidence for her.
This key, Mrs. Stone, you recognize it?
Why, yes, it's the one for the front door. It must be Charles.
He gave it to this officer, Mrs. Stone, the man who was supposed to murder you.
No, I don't believe it.
Do you have any idea what's in that closet, ma'am, that one over there?
There's nothing in there. I cleaned it out the last time we were here. I cleaned out all the closets.
I'd like to show it to you, ma'am.
Piece of rope? I never saw that there before.
Mr. Stone gave it to me. It was supposed to be the murder weapon.
Just one more point, ma'am. Over here, please. Do you know what's in this drawer here?
It's empty. It has to be. We never keep anything in there. Only when we move down for the summer months.
Joe?
Right. Pair of your husband's old gloves. Is that right, ma'am?
Well, why would they be there? What for?
I was supposed to wear them while I was in the house so I wouldn't leave fingerprints.
Do you mind if I sit down?
Here you are.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stone. We know it's a terrible shock for you. I think you realize we had to tell you.
It's all right. You've been very kind. You saved my life. I'm sorry now that happened. It would have been better if he'd succeeded. Much better.
Take it easy, Mrs. Stone.
The shame. Terrible, terrible shame. Is there anything I can do for him?
He wanted to have you murdered, ma'am.
I know that. He wanted me dead.
Yes, ma'am.
There's only one thing.
Yeah?
He's my husband, Sergeant. I love him.
6:45 p.m. I telephoned Charles Stone and told him the job was done. His wife was murdered. He said he'd meet me at 6th and Alameda Streets for the payoff as scheduled. I waited. He failed to show up. At 7:30 p.m., Stone was placed under arrest as he parked his car in front of their Venice beach house. A loaded .32 caliber revolver was found in his pocket. He was taken back to the city hall, the chief of detective's office. Ben and I waited outside the open door. We could hear Thad Brown start the interrogation inside.
Do you know what we have you down here for, Mr. Stone?
No, I haven't the faintest idea.
What would you say if I told you your wife had been murdered?
I think you're crazy.
What would you say if I told you that you're accused of her murder?
It's silly. It's ridiculous. I've been at work all day. I can prove it.
All right, Friday, come in.
Yes, sir.
You ever meet this man before?
I've seen him on Skid Row. I don't know him.
Do you recognize the man you hired to kill your wife?
I don't know the man. I didn't kill my wife. I don't understand all this.
The name's Kelly, Mr. Stone.
He's some fake officer. He's a Skid Row bum. I don't know him.
I don't think that's going to make it, Stone. Both you and your wife have been tailed constantly for the last couple of days. Photographs taken. Midget auto races. 6th on Alameda. Beverly Hills apartment.
Crazy. You don't know what you're talking about.
Mike, would you send the lady in, please?
Mildred, you don't believe all these things you're saying about me, do you?
Here are the rings, Charles. The bracelet, too. I didn't realize how much you wanted them.
Molly, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I was thinking of.
There, Charles. There, it's all right now. You'll feel better in a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am. That's all, Friday.
Right.
What's it look like, Joe?
He's starting to talk.
It's got me. He tries to have her murdered. She goes to bat for him.
What's it prove?
He sure must love him. What do you think?
How about a cup of coffee?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To the working detective, the difference between guilt and innocence is proof, in the form of physical evidence, in the form of testimony gathered from reliable witnesses. In determining any suspect's guilt or innocence, the difference is actual proof. Now, when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality, and Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. You'll find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Charles Farnsworth Stone was tried and convicted on soliciting the commission of a felony, 2 counts. He received a sentence as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Hi, folks. This is Bob on the air for Chesterfield. Every Tuesday night, consult your local paper for time and station Hope.
And Bing, on the air for Chesterfield every Wednesday night, Crosby. I've called this little seminar to teach our new boy the ropes.
Say, Sag, I think it's only fair to warn you, with me selling Chesterfields this year, you'll have to limp along lively to keep up.
Oh, say, since when have you been any competition, lover boy? When we're in pitches together, who always gets the girl?
Which only backs up the old saying, everybody loves a fat man.
Seriously, friends, Skinflint and I, we do agree 100% on this. Chesterfields are milder.
And they leave no unpleasant aftertaste. So always buy our cigarette, Chesterfield.
The best cigarette for you to smoke.
Hear Hope and Crosby Tuesday. Next, We the People on NBC.